We were live when you did that.
I'm awesome like that.
That's so
We
funny.
should have been counting down.
And intro.
Welcome, paranormal seekers, and let us go into the abyss. Join us to open your mind, both of your ears, and all three of your eyes, and discuss all things supernatural. We believe that we all learn from each other, and we all have a lot to learn. What will you learn today? Here are your hosts, paranormal investigator Sean Gilmore and chaos witch Zorina Crow.
Right on.
We even got Teresa doing it. Oh,
I know.
I love it.
And she has her magic kitty cat with her too.
Yes, one of my weasels. This is the first weasel. Okay, the Jumanji cats are in their room, because God knows I would not be sitting here right now. They'd be jumping all over the place. The screen would be moving all over. So yeah, no, she's the calmest one here. So that's good. So, she's just sucking all of this up, right? So Sean, I understand we are your guests tonight.
You guys just started talking away, and I thought I wanted to. Our logo is hiding your cat, so I wanted to get rid of the logo so everyone can see your kitty. So everyone, welcome to Into the Abyss. I'm Sean Gilmore, your host. We are a little bit off kilter, but that's okay. Our co-host, Zorina Crow. She's here, and we have some awesome guests tonight. Yeah. We have Jean-Jerome below me and Teresa down below Zorina. And we are going to have, oh man, I just can't wait to see what rabbit holes we go down. Zorina just gave me some amazing gifts the other day. I just got in the mail, and I have them here so we could talk about them even more, because I did a live feed and nobody could hear Zorina. So I want to talk about it some more, because these things are awesome.
I love them. I enjoyed watching you get them. For me, it was the look on your face, okay? And at one point, when your fingers were going like this, I was like, oh, he is so in the kid zone right now. He's blown away by all of this going, ooh.
It was like a I don't belated birthday, or it was great. It was great. It was awesome. That's just so thoughtful, and it's just amazing.
It was.
So also today, Melvin sent me the answers to his Too Crazy to Believe, and Melvin usually jumps on a little bit later, so I'm probably gonna have to say this again. But he made a video. We talked about doing it in video form. He made a video, and the video won't play. So it's just,
what was the video about?
It was the answers to his Too Crazy to Believe segment that we did on the show last week.
Yeah.
So we would know which story was true and which was not. One was about, do you remember the story, Serena?
I remember that there was a psychic, and she was the killer, and there was the kid that got struck by lightning at like a certain date or a certain date. It
was on the 13th. His birthday was on the 13th. It happened on Friday the 13th. It was the 13th. And it happened at 13 o'clock in the Army time. Or
and was
world
that the
time.
correct answer? Do you know if that one was?
Well, you see, here's the thing. I'll show you guys. This is the thing. If I go to here, and then I go here, hold on. Yeah, it's just, hold on. This is all we got, guys.
Okay, good.
Do you see that? That's what we got.
We got a spinny tool. Got a thingy.
So
wheels on the bus go round and round.
round and round.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm trying to multitask, which everyone knows how fantastic I am at that.
Yeah.
You
And I'm
are.
sharing the video, and I need to message Melvin and say, your video doesn't work. We want to know the answer.
And I was trying to like share mine, but my phone is like, I don't know, somewhere, and I think it needs 10 foil or something, because like I'm in this like I do. It's like it's really spotty because it's on the Wi-Fi, and well, I mean I have regular service, but it's still I like to use the Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi. I like Wi-Fi.
I like Wi-Fi too.
I like the Wi-Fi. So I was like, so I better not try to create any more technical glitches than I can. So I guess anybody who is supposed to be here will find us.
Exactly.
We draw you in.
So Sean, can I ask you, your guests that were supposed to be on had canceled, correct?
Well, I would say they canceled.
Okay. They couldn't make it.
Yeah, we'll say they couldn't make it.
Okay. All right. But
we'll be nice. So
but it was about a subject. Let me clear my voice. It's about a subject that I was looking forward to this show, okay, on Bigfoot. So excuse me.
Yes, they were two gentlemen who have a podcast based out of Southern California, and they specialize in Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Well, just so you know, I love Bigfoot, okay? I have been a Bigfoot aficionado for many years, okay? And in fact, like I was saying to Jean-Jerome when we were starting our podcast network, and we were getting excited about all the topics and things we were going to talk about, I let slip the word Bigfoot. And I said, yeah, and we can even talk about Bigfoot. And Jean-Jerome was doing something, didn't even listen to me. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, yes. One day we are going to talk about Bigfoot, right? So when I saw you guys were going to have somebody, a guest, talking about Bigfoot, I thought, oh, yes. Now, I do have a Bigfoot story for you if you want to hear it.
I would love to hear your Bigfoot story.
Okay. All right. So, in fact, I have two. Okay. So, first of all, I'll tell you the one that had happened to my ex-husband. All right. I live here in Midland, Ontario, in Canada, sort of not really northern Ontario, because I mean, our province is huge. I'm sort of like in the middle of the province, right? But if the further north you go, the less land there is, and there's a lot more water. Okay, and with that, the roads are more narrow, so the highways are just 2-lane highways, and it's dark and stuff, and you got lots of forests, and you got a lot of swamp water and stuff like that, right? Anyway, he had gone fishing with his cousin, and so they were in this little, God, this was back like in the 80s or something, with some little hatchback that they had, and they threw all their camping gear, they threw their fishing tackle, and their rods and everything, and off they went down the road, and they stopped over. They took like 2 weeks, and they decided, okay, they're going to head up north, right? And they were aiming for Pickle Barrel, Ontario, okay? It's in the middle of freaking nowhere, okay? So they're en route, and one of the nights they decided I think they were past Sault Ste. Marie at this point. So they're north, okay? And they decided they were going to pull over on the side of the road, and the forest is really quite thick. And so they had enough room to just pull over to the soft shoulder where the gravel was, park the car, open the hatchback, throw their camping gear just over the, the metal guardrails that you have on the side of the roads. They went over and they climbed over and they sat down, and they kind of like took out their lawn chairs, and they said, okay, this looks like a good spot. We don't have to go into the bush. So they made their little camp. They put their fire, together. They put up their tent, and they're sitting there and they're talking, and, they had their tunes going and stuff. And my ex-husband is sitting there, and he's got the stick, and I guess he was just sort of beating out some music to the music that was blaring from from the vehicle, right? And he's tapping and he's singing away, and he stops, for a minute, and they, you know, what they were doing, they were smoking pot, right? And they were sitting there. And all of a sudden they heard this boom, 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 like a reply. And he looks over at his cousin, and his cousin goes, "Did you hear that?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's kind of weird." And he says, "Do it again." So, you know, he's tapping on the guardrail with this big stick, right? And they waited a few minutes, and they could hear this sound replying, right? So his cousin looked at him, and he said, "You know what? Turn the music off." He says, "Let's hear let's try to identify this, see what this is," right? And they're like literally, they're kind of like, it's just a 2-lane highway. That's it. There's nobody else on the road. It's late at night. So he went and he turned the music off. They sat down, and he started again the beating of the stick. And now it sounds like it's getting a little bit closer, right? His cousin looks at him, and he goes, "All right." He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I'm going to start putting our stuff together." He goes, "I'm going to start throwing things in the back of the vehicle." Okay. And he goes, "And you can stand here." And he goes, "You can beat out messages if you want to." And he goes, "But I'm starting to get our shit together." Right.
Yeah.
So he's putting everything together. My husband just standing there, and he's kind of like just throwing dirt on the little campfire that they had going there. And his cousin comes, and he takes some water, he throws the water on the fire and stuff. And they're standing there, and all they have is their flashlights, right? And he's banging on the guardrail one more time, right? And he said, then they heard nothing. And when the reply came back, literally, he said it was like 20 feet away. And he goes, there was no thrashing of any bushes, that it wasn't a moose or anything like that. And he said they just jumped over the guardrail, shut the back of the hatchback, right? They got into the vehicle, and they started to drive off, right? And they did not stop, all right? And they drove off, and for the rest of the evening, they said, "No, we're just going to keep driving until we come to some sort of little town or something like that," right? And I mean, if you know Northern Ontario, there's nothing. They drove all night, okay, till they basically got to who knows where. I think they finally got to Pickle Barrel, right? Mm-hmm. But when they were talking about it later, his cousin came back to him about a week later, and he said, "You know what?" He says, "I was asking a few people," and he says, "I even asked a native guy I know." He says, "You know, I was telling him what was going on," and he says, I kept thinking it was, you know, somebody in the bush or something like that." He goes, "Or a moose or something like that." And the native friend of his had said, "I think," he goes, "what you contacted was," he says, "Bigfoot." He goes, "Sasquatch." Yeah. He says, "No." And he named him something, because I think in Ojibwe they have a special name for Bigfoot, right? And his cousin and him, they started talking. And he says, "There's no way." He goes, No. But years later, okay, he was at another camping trip, okay, another fishing thing, right? And this time he said what he had heard it was a very bizarre sound, okay? And his cousin said, "Well, to me," he goes, "that sounds like an animal in heat," right? And my husband says, "I don't care what the hell that is." He goes, "But I think it's Bigfoot." And he goes, "I'm out of here," right? And he said there was no camp. They did not set up camp, nothing. That was it. They got in their vehicle and they were gone. So after having that one experience and having the sound, you know, like replying back to them, I told him, because I said, "Look, I'm a Bigfoot, you know, aficionado." I said, "So I'm telling you, that was a Bigfoot," okay? Because they will reply back, right? They will, you know, try to communicate. And I said, "No, I swear," I said, "your cousin's native friend is right. That is a Bigfoot. I swear it is," right? So that was my Bigfoot story vicariously through my husband, okay? Then I had one myself, okay? Now, okay, so you know I'm a school bus driver, right? And the place where I go to pick up the kids is sort of, you have to kind of get to a dock, okay, because the kids that are coming over from the reserve island have to come by ferry, right? So anyway, so I got the kids. I'm heading back, you know, getting closer to town. I'm picking up a couple of other kids, and one of the children on my bus, he's sitting sort of, well, he's kind of diagonally across from me, and he's talking to his brother who's sitting opposite him, and he's like, you know, he kept repeating his name, you know, he keeps calling his brother's name, and he goes, Alfred, I forget the kid's name right now, but he goes, Alfred, he goes, there's a really big man in the bush over there. He goes, look at the big man in the bush. And he goes, looks like a monkey. He looks like a monkey. There's a monkey in the bush, right? And I'm standing there, and I have the bus, you know, with the full lights on and everything, because I'm waiting for the kids to come out of their house to come on board. And, you know, we drive away, and one of the kids in the back, he said, hey, he goes, Teresa. And I go, what? He goes, did you see that? And I go, see what? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, it looked like a monkey. He goes, or a man up in a tree. He goes, I don't know. And I went, what are you talking about? And the kid who was sitting sort of diagonally across from me, and he goes, yeah, he was a tall monkey man. He looked really tall, a big monkey man. And all of a sudden I just went, Bigfoot. And I swear all the kids were like, Bigfoot, and they're like looking out their windows, right? So off I went, right? Well, the rest of the ride to school was nothing but talking about Bigfoot and how that kid saw it, the other one saw it, and oh my God, I saw Bigfoot once, you know, a long time ago, and it was nothing but Bigfoot talk, okay? So I missed Bigfoot, but apparently he was not that far off, and it was early in the morning. It was, you know, it was just starting to get light out, you know, and in February, it's still kind of dark up here. So Bigfoot was up and around. So those are my two Bigfoot stories.
Well, that is really crazy though, and the thing is that you hear stories like that though. Yeah. I had a friend that told me they were camping, and I think they said they were southern Ohio on their family's property that they have. They use it for hunting, and they just stay in these like trailers while they're staying there, and they were partying, and they were banging around, and then all of a sudden outside they heard this knocking sound, and what happened with them though is that whatever was outside pounded on the side of their trailer, like it was really hard, right? And they never explained what was there. Now they're in the middle of nowhere. Like literally the closest neighbor is like 10 miles away. And that's probably an under exaggeration. So it's they had no clue what it could have been. Everybody that was there with them, everyone that they planned to be there with them, and was there with them. And they had no way to describe or figure out what it is. Now, my old co-host John Ward and I, we were in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, and we were walking to this area. There's a old Native American fort. It was a fort, and it's been marked by the national parks. And I wanted to show John, and you know, us being paranormal investigators, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And
where was this? Which park? Like in Ohio, or
it's the Cuyahoga Valley National Park.
Okay, all right.
So it's our national park, and what's really cool about these parks is they're rich in history, all sorts of different types of history, and they don't close. So they're very haunted. So I see people jogging at night by themselves. I'm like, they're braver than I am for more reason than one. I don't know, but I've had some pretty crazy experiences along the canalways there in other parks. This one included. So we were walking, and we heard this. Like at first, I thought, you know, when a tree sways in the wind, it makes like a almost like a whining.
Yeah.
But this was definitely like a whining sound. Right.
Yeah.
So at first, that's what I just tossed it off. I didn't even think. And John was like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just the trees, whatever."
Yeah.
And then as we went further up, then we were hearing it more and more. So we stopped and we're talking about this noise that we're hearing, and it's this whining sound. And so John, there's the path. There's a hill that goes up the side of the path. So John started to kind of take a couple steps up the hill. Sound got louder. It did not like that John was going up this hill. To this day, we have no clue what was watching us in that park.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, I could have been a Bigfoot. I've been told that there's been quite a few Bigfoot sightings near my house and in this area of Ohio. So a friend of mine's mom, actually, when I was in high school, she told me of one of a park that's not too far. So there's been sightings around here, and in Kent, Ohio, there was one, and there was a big like fiasco that someone was telling me about. So it's kind of interesting to me though, how many people.
They are around, I mean, they've been all over the place. Well, all over North America. They're in Asia as well, Siberia. There's that famous story in Siberia. When did it happen? I think back in the 50s. It was, I think these were Russian students who decided they were going to go out into the field to do some research, and it was sort of like a reading week type of thing. And they were also doing something for the university and doing some research. And they ended up taking an all-wheel terrain and going through the Siberian forest. It was sort of like this kind of path. They kind of knew where they were going, and they were going straight to, I think this is where the Kant people are, the Kant Siberian shamanistic people. Anyway, on their way, they apparently had encountered some tracks, and one of them had stopped and said, "Hey, wow, look at those huge tracks. What sort of animal or whatever?" And they actually have this documented. They actually have the film. So they're talking in Russian, and you could see one of them getting out of the vehicle and proceeding to go in front of the vehicle and taking a look at the tracks and getting really, really excited and getting the others to come out. And so they come out, and including the guy with the camera, and he comes out, and they kind of sort of focus in on this big, huge footprint, right? And they didn't know what it was. So they just kind of thought it could have been a big bear or something like that. And, of course they have, the tigers. So they thought, well, maybe it's a tiger or something like that, but they weren't sure. Anyway, they ended up getting back in. So the film kind of stops there, and you could just see the track of the print. And to me, it looked like a Bigfoot print from all, shows that I have seen so far. Right. But they were not really familiar with what it was. Right. I mean, like, these were just, university students from St. Petersburg, right, in Russia. So what do they know? They're city kids. They don't know anything about the country. So that was the last piece of evidence of them being alive that they found, was, them getting out of this vehicle, going over, looking at this track, taking sort of a film print of this track, and then that was it. And they went missing. And the Russian military was involved in trying to find them. They knew where they were going, so they had gone to look for them. They found the vehicle. The vehicle was untouched. Their camp was set up, and their camp was ripped apart. Okay. So they thought it might have been a bear, right? But when they went looking for, the food wasn't touched, okay? When they went looking for the students, because they were nowhere near the camp, and they noticed that all the food was intact, their water supply was intact, everything was intact except for the camp, the tent. couple of the tents were completely ripped open and the others weren't, right? And then, of course, this documentary, and it's all in Russian, okay? Then they find the body parts. And of course, you see the grisly remains of the body parts, but they weren't really like mangled or anything like that. They were kind of ripped, but from their jaw down. And they were frozen, okay? So they found them, and they found them frozen to the ground. They were sort of half covered in snow and that, and they brought them back, and they started to do all this research on what could have killed them. Like, why did they run? Because I mean, some of them ran in one direction, another ran in that direction and whatever. So the military decided they were going to call it death by bear, right? But a few people who the local indigenous people in the area decided that when they were interviewed, they said, no, this is, and I forget what the name, they actually have a name, and they said, no, this is the tall forest people that got them, right? And so they did this whole thing on the actual indigenous people, talking about the forest people, these tall forest people, and they're man-like, they look ape-like, right? And there was and the one thing was they found a camera. Okay, so one of the students actually had a camera, and they found on the camera an actual Bigfoot in the distance. Okay, so this was during the day. So he had this camera set up, and you could see that they were like all agitated, like all the students were kind of like sort of standing back and talking and getting all excited. And you could see in the distance a figure, and it looked like Bigfoot. And so they started talking amongst each other, like, what is this? What could it be? And that. And that's all they have, is just that. So besides the footprints, okay, they had this that they found from one of the students who I guess was running with the camera or something, or rather, and they found, so it proved the theory of what the indigenous people were telling them. No, this isn't a bear, okay? The fact that they weren't ripped apart or anything like that, like it wasn't a gruesome animal type of thing. I think it was their jaw that was dislocated. That was about it. And their bodies were found. So
wow. See, but my question about all of this is, how come we can go into a rainforest, locate all different types of new kinds of bugs, a little bug, but we can't go into the forests of North America and find Bigfoot? So this is where I think, and I rack my brain, and I really think hard about this, because to me, like, you have brown bears, you have all these other animals. They can tell me how many mountain lions are in Northern California, but they can't find Bigfoot. So these are thoughts that I have. So I try not to doubt it, because it's so crazy. Now you hear other stories, though. You hear stories about the giants.
People see them,
right? You hear people about, but not just the Bigfoot giants, but like there's people that believe that there are giants that once existed with the Native Americans. So what if Bigfoot is a spiritual creature?
I think it's a species that still exists, and it has its own, there's this whole spiritual and mythology built around these beings, okay? And I think North American indigenous people know them quite well and respect them, right? I believe that they do exist. I really do. Just because we haven't seen them or proof of them, right? They're very elusive. You've got to understand, they're not going to come into our realm so much. And if they do, it's very brief, okay? Yes, people talk about, well, you've never seen a body of a dead Bigfoot or anything like that. But these are intelligent beings, okay? If they're able to communicate with us to a rudimentary level, we think, right? They have coexisted with nature in ways that you and I could never, ever coexist, all right, with nature the way they do. And yet they can hide and be in full view. I saw a film of a guy who actually filmed them, and you could see them in the distance. They look very apish, kind of like a big ape type of thing, right? Very elusive. Okay. I believe they exist. Like, okay, for example, people say, okay, we can find all these little, like you said, you can find all these little insects and stuff like this. Well, for years, they thought the coelacanth was an extinct species of fish. And yet, what was it, back in the 30s or 40s, they found one in a fisherman's net in South Africa. Yeah. They actually pulled it on board, and I mean, there it is, right? And supposedly extinct. And
but there's the ocean. We don't go very deep in the ocean. There's all sorts of creatures in the ocean that we don't see. And so the
ocean's pretty vast, but we have a lot of forests too that are not explored. Like when you think about Canada, okay, most of our major cities and most of our towns are right along near the American border, okay? Anything further past that literally is dense forest, unknown, uncharted, okay? There's no roads. All right. The only roads, the paths you might see are deer paths or paths that geologists have gone into. And even some of those, they're non-existent. The forests are so thick. That's why I said when my ex-husband had decided to go camp on the side of the road, right? They were right near their vehicle, right near the, the shoulder of the road, and just a little bit of a patch. Because I mean, even here, I know sometimes when I drive my bus, like I look through those forests and it's like, you can't see a thing. And it's in the middle of this, in the day, you can't see the sun. You can barely see the sun. So these creatures can exist. And there's so many people who've had encounters with them. That's the other thing when you think about it, right? And they're documented and they're talked, a lot of truckers, for example, because they're constantly going back and forth along, the roads, and they'll come in contact with them, So anyway.
I definitely see your point, right? But I just don't get it. Like, they can tell me how many mountain lions there are, but they can't find Bigfoot. Like, even if there's like one Bigfoot every 100 miles, right? Let's say there's one Bigfoot every 100 miles, but they can't find him. But they can tell me that there's one mountain lion every 500 miles.
Yes, they can find them. There's a lot of people. That's why there's so many of these shows on. And you wait till your guest comes back on. I'm
going to, because this is like my biggest thing I don't get. This is why I want to say it. I believe Bigfoot is like Jared Scavani said. I think Bigfoot's an interdimensional being. I believe that he is much like a skinwalker, can come into the physical plane, be a physical creature, but then he goes interdimensionally travels. That's what I think. I don't think he does not exist, but I don't think that he exists primarily in our world.
I doubt, okay, only because I've seen another clip, okay, trust me, I've been following this since I was 12 years old, okay. There's a guy who actually found an enclosure that was actually made by a Bigfoot, okay, and his story is that he felt that there was a young one somewhere in there. I mean, the smell of the Bigfoot. I mean, there's all this documented stuff. And the parents were nearby and they were the guy had him on film actually coming down the ridge. And you could see they were, it's like, hey, the kid's in the house and you left them alone and we've got to go rescue them, and here's this human going, I shouldn't really be here, right? And he takes off. They do exist in this dimension. I believe they exist in this dimension. I think we have somehow given them the interdimensional sort of perspective because we can't see them. They're so elusive, right? But I mean, who am I to doubt that? Maybe they are. Okay.
I don't know. I just try to think of it logically, and it's like, it's just because, like, Again, going back to, why are you guys laughing at me?
Look at Jean-Jerome, okay? They're sitting there going, oh my God, look what we've started, right? Teresa, shut up already.
What do you think, Jean-Jerome? Do you think Bigfoot is a mythical creature? Do you think Bigfoot is interdimensional, or do you think that he's a physical living creature like a brown bear or a mountain lion?
And I have a segue to that. I want to know if Jean-Jerome in his mass travels in his Batman adventures has seen any weirdo crazy creatures. I just needed to throw that out there. So just anyway. Okay, now
what is the craziest thing you've ever seen?
Go. All right.
That's a loaded question. This is a topic where Teresa and I have many times briefly discussed it. And
we've gone into our own private abyss.
Yeah, change the subject. So the thing is, Teresa believes, but this is also a hereditary thing, I believe, and spiritual thing for Teresa. Teresa, there are many peoples, especially from Eastern Europe, and many part where they believe in and have ceremonies for a class of being called Yeti. Okay, and if you look at some of the descriptions, some of them, like Teresa, believe that it is an actual species, an actual group of beings that like any other hominid, upright, walks upright, lots of things, and they believe that, right? As you say, Sean, nobody's ever really produced, a dead, Sasquatch or Yeti that we know of. At least nothing that's been, gone through anthropological or carbon dating or anything of that nature. So it's a little, hard. Sometimes people have attributed them to being perhaps a throwback of the Neanderthal race, which we know it did exist on Earth and so forth. However, it is interesting that there are over 50 names within First Nations for the Sasquatch and all that. Everything from the Klamath, the Navajo, the Yakama, the Hopi, the Algonquin, the Iroquois, the Huron as well. The what other ones we have here? I mean, it's just the list goes on. And the Haida Indians, the Wenatchee Indians, and so forth. First Nations. So definitely the phenomenon, or this spirit, or what they would almost describe as a spirit of the forest that appears to be both human and bear-like because of the fur, but human in terms of the way it walks and behaves, has been around for ages, right? Some of the cultures I do know, liken, and to your example, I think it was Teresa's mentioned it, where they liken it to a Wendigo. So the idea of a spirit that is, in other words, comes from, is invoked from if you want to say another dimension or from the spirit realm, and takes possession, right? There are precedents for that in Haitian voodoo, and also in Benin. There is a class of spirit which is called Zando or Zandor. And the Zandor were spirits that were called upon to defend or protect the village or the community. And they were what we would describe as, anthropomorphic, in the sense they were, the shape of a person, but they could be part wolf, part lion, part animal. In other words, they're enormous strength.
Chimera.
Almost like a chimera. Enormous strength, and but their manifestation was a spiritual. So people that were elegul, people that have the ability to see, right, were basically able to witness that and to describe what they saw. In other words, they would see the person under the influence of the spirit literally transform. These spirits, I mean, and their presence in terms of, let's say, in the Haitian Revolution, were often called on to help the people to fight the French colonists, and they were mentioned. There's many stories within voodoo and there are still today. Those spirits would fall under the Petro line of Haitian voodoo because they're dark. They're extremely dark, and they're considered primordial spirits. Some may also liken those spirits and their ability to morph manifestations in some cultures to be like a jinn being able to take, or in the First Nations, a skinwalker, something able to take or to morph into something different, like a shapeshifter. Those are the spiritual explanations. Definitely, there are spiritual ceremonies still today that are used to invoke those types of spirits. And I'm sure that many of the Russian or Mongolian shamans may invoke such or said spirits in times of danger or trouble to defend their villages,
or to placate, because they are real. I mean, they have footprints. One of my other favorite shows that I used to always love to watch, Josh Gates on Expedition Unknown.
I love him.
I do too. And he did one entirely on Bigfoot, and he actually captured a footprint and, got the plaster of the casting plaster, whatever, and got the Bigfoot, okay, and took it back to a lab, I think, in the States. And it was definitely a Bigfoot, okay, because now there's a science growing around this, okay. It's not just a phenomenon or a bunch of crazy people going Bigfoot hunting, which is also a phenomenon, okay, in of itself, but there's actually a scientific community now willing to listen, okay, to this. Could be a throwback to a hominid that has not been explored yet, part of our DNA ancestral our ancestral roots, right?
It could be, for sure. I saw one with Josh Gates where he went to like Asia or something, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same episode?
I think so. Yes. And he came into contact with one of the I think this was, because he used this gentleman as a guide before for one of his other shows. And it was, he got reacquainted with him and saw him again. And this time it was strictly about Bigfoot, right? And he took him to that part of Asia. I'm trying to remember where it was again. Kathmandu, somewhere
it's like Thailand or something, right? I don't remember. But
maybe.
What's funny is earlier you're talking about North America and the areas that are completely
void of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me remember of one of my favorite TV shows. It's no longer on anymore. Survivor Man.
I loved him. I
knew
him.
You would. He was his show. It's like he brought those Survivor shows to life.
Yes, he did.
But this guy, he would go out in the middle of nowhere, be dropped there, and he'd have like 5 cameras. And he would literally set up a camera, get the shot of him walking away from the camera, then walk back to the camera. So he was literally the only guy there. Unlike the other shows, that the guy has a whole camera crew with him while he's supposedly drinking his urine. So, but
Survivor Man. Les Stroud. He's Canadian, actually.
Les Stroud. He is. You know how I know that?
How do you know that?
Okay. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona.
You met him. Okay.
I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I worked at this little sports bar. Okay. And I was having my after shift Captain and Coke. And I'm sitting there and I end up talking to this fellow. And we're talking about how I like to mountain bike and I was excited to go out and stuff. He's like, I actually teach survival out in the wilderness. And in fact, I'm getting a show on the Discovery Channel.
Oh, wow. It was him.
It was him before he ever had his show. I saw him on TV. I was like, holy crap, that's the dude. That's the dude. So that was just like really cool. That was one of the coolest things about living in Phoenix. Like I met like a lot of cool people. Another person I saw perform at a coffee shop before he was ever famous. I had no clue.
Who?
John Mayer.
Who?
What?
Who?
John Mayer.
Mm-hmm.
John Mayer.
I saw him
don't know him.
perform at a coffee shop before he was ever famous.
He sings the song Your Body is a Wonderland. It's like a real famous.
Oh,
Yeah.
the singer John Mayer. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
He dated my wife, Jennifer Aniston. Second one.
God.
What? Katie knows. Katie knows. Katie knows.
And I'm sitting there going, your wife is
No. That would be I would not be sitting in a basement with a podcast. We'd be sitting I'd at least be in a fancy room somewhere.
without the stuffed REM pod dog.
Right. Well, I'd probably still have the parapooch. I mean, it's the parapooch.
My celebrity husband is Keanu Reeves. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've talked about Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
He's
I
Canadian.
like him.
He went to my high school.
Really?
Yeah, he went to De La Salle. He's a Del grad.
Oh, wow.
De La Salle, yeah. He was went to Catholic school.
A lot of good
Nice.
things came from Canada.
Mhm.
Kids in the Hall came from Canada.
Yes, they did.
I love that show. I heard that they're getting some sort of webcast show or something. I'm really excited.
I don't know.
are they?
I like maple syrup.
Who?
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Oh, okay. I like it too.
I'm
That's
sorry.
too
That's
funny.
all I got is maple syrup. Sorry.
So now that we've gotten away from the Bigfoot thing,
Okay. All right.
I want
we can
to
change
give
the subject.
Melvin still isn't here. I was going to wait for Melvin to come in, but okay. So I got it to work on my phone.
Okay.
So I'm going to put it up to my speaker and
Okay.
let me know if everybody can hear it. And then I'm just going to put a picture from Melvin's show up. Okay. And then we're going to play the whole clip here.
Okay.
So here we go.
So do we get to guess? Can we play the game or?
You know what? I think he does reread it.
Okay, good.
So we'll go and then I'll pause it. And then honestly, I haven't gotten to listen to it yet because I haven't been able to get it to work until just now.
Okay.
So
all right. So
here we go.
Listen closely, Jean-Jerome. Let's see if he gets this.
Okay. Here we go.
Unexplained.
A question was asked of you last week. A simple question as it was. You were told 2 stories, and you were asked if you thought the stories were real or too crazy to believe. Now, both could be real, both could be made up, or one is real and the other is made up. Sometimes you just never know. So, are you ready to find out?
First, before I continue, can everybody hear it okay?
Yes. We can.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
I can hear it perfectly.
Okay.
Which is what? Then we shall not waste any more time, for this is Too Crazy to Believe, Into the Abyss Edition. Answers. The first story, titled 1313 on Friday the 13th, told the tale of a family checking out an air show. Everything was going smoothly until an unforeseen event occurred. A young lad named Andrew was struck by lightning. Andrew turned out to be okay, but the timing of the lightning strike is what makes this so memorable. Andrew was 13 years old, and he was struck by lightning at the time of 13:13 p.m. And all of this occurred on Friday the 13th. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Is this story real, or is it too crazy to believe?
What do you guys think?
I think it's true.
I think it's true.
I would say no. I would say it's not true.
Okay. Okay.
I would say it's not true. That's my feel. But
That's your final answer.
Because the statistical probability for a child to survive an actual lightning strike is less than 10%, unless they're grounded or they have some protection. So that would be quite. If they took a full lightning strike, like a child, that much current through a child, the child would go into cardiac arrest. So I find that if it were true, I'd be very surprised.
I love his.
I think the number 13 is magical, so I'm going with the magic of it all. Okay.
My answer, because Jean-Jerome said a lot of technical stuff, so I'm not sure now.
I know, right? Last week I did say. Last week I did say that I thought this was
logical. But he just said that's legit science. I'm switching my vote with Jean-Jerome. Sorry, my bad. Okay, that's my final answer. I swear to God. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Last week I did say I felt like this one was a true story.
Right.
But
unlikely. But both stories were very unlikely.
Yeah.
Right.
But this one just seemed to make more sense. But Jean-Jerome made a lot of sense. I think I'm going to change my answer. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I'm still holding out for yes. I'm still holding out. I am not going to be persuaded by Jean-Jerome. I'm saying yes.
You're saying yes. Okay.
She's saying yes to the dress. All right, sorry.
Highly.
Let's see.
Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Is this story real, or is it too crazy to believe? This story is real.
Oh,
yes, that's right. This is
real.
Jeopardy.
I'm about to Google. Go fact check that.
I gotta fact check it. I gotta fact check it because really, for many times, how many children have actually been killed. That's why when you have soccer games and all that, there's lightning. They say you have to clear the field and everything else because a child is receiving a full-blown lightning strike. I mean, you could put them in cardiac arrest or burn the hell out of them.
When I was a kid, I was at day camp, and we had like these pavilions that we go in, and it was a really bad storm that came by. I saw a lightning strike hit a soccer ball.
Wow.
It was crazy. It's one of the craziest.
Did it blow the soccer ball apart, or did it just...
Didn't. It didn't? No.
No, because it's rubber, right? The soccer ball, or no, it's leather, isn't it?
Jean-Jerome, why wouldn't the soccer ball explode? Because it hit the ball.
Because there's a rubber core, probably a rubber core inside. So it acts on isolation.
Maybe.
More than likely.
Isolation. Yeah.
But you know what? If the child was standing there with both feet firmly planted on the ground, and my thinking was most kids like to wear, rubber sneakers, all right, and had been just standing there and watching whatever it was. What was it? An air show or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're standing there and they're like doing one of these, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, boom. It probably went right through him. I'm sure it damaged him.
The other thing, which if you think about it, the only thing I respect what he said, but I still believe it's a fake. Because the statistical probability of having an air show in the middle of a lightning storm, like what are the chances you're going to have an air show? That's the first thing they would check. They would suspend all flights, and then because if a plane gets hit or in the middle of a maneuver or something like that, or you have crowds assembled, it's very unlikely as well.
Have you ever been on a plane during a storm?
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrifying.
I will tell you a story, okay? As a dog walker for 13, 14 years, okay, I remember, during the summertime, when we have our worst storms, the full-on fledged, warning us of storms coming today or tonight or whatever. And this was a hot, humid day, and I was out with the dogs, all right, and they were calling for thunderstorms, and I kept looking around, and the sky was kind of cloudy, but not really, right? And I remember walking with the dogs, and you could hear thunder, all right? And I know one of my dogs, okay, little Bingley, God rest her little soul, Bingley was petrified. She did not want to walk. She just walked sort of part down the path, and then it's like she kept pulling back, right? And I said, honey, it's there's no lightning, there's no thunder, it's okay. She heard it, I heard it, and then I went, oh, okay. And I said, well, I guess we're turning around, we're going back, because she didn't want to walk. Okay, like full on, you know, feet into the ground. She didn't want to go. So I called all the other dogs back, and off we went. Do you know there was a bolt of lightning that struck the hydro field that was behind us, okay, and hit one of the things, and there was no storm, there was nothing, and it struck, okay? So yes, there could have been an air show, there could have been a threat of an oncoming storm, and it could have been in the distance, but lightning can still form. In fact, you know, those ball lightning, I even saw something recently that came across on Facebook where ball lightning just forms out of nowhere, right? Well, not out of nowhere. There has to be certain conditions in order for that to happen, right?
Marlon?
So I knocked your theory down, Jean-Jerome.
I still stick to my theory. I would fact check it. Honestly, I would fact check that. I would fact check that, because the reason I say it's dangerous, because we have to be careful of something like that. And people think, oh, you know, see, somebody can survive that, nothing happened. That's a very dangerous message.
Very dangerous. It is very dangerous.
It's no joke. A lightning storm for children is no joke, because I can't tell you, in France, I could ask my dad, I think about 3 years or 4 years ago, soccer field. It was supposed to be, you know, clear. The forecast changed. They well, play on, and the kids were on the field. Lightning struck. 3 of the kids dead.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a joke.
It can come up from nowhere. That's what I'm saying. It's predicted to be a storm. It can happen even before that. So I mean, I could see it being an air show, and you know, it's sort of like, okay, so we catch the last bit of the day, you know, and something like that. I want to read what Lume Star has to say there. Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, sure. So what Lume Star said is, have you ever seen the scars that people get from lightning strikes? They look kind of like trees.
Wow. Well, isn't there something that's formed when lightning strikes the earth? You can actually go and pull it out.
Glass.
And I know the answer to that.
The glass.
Okay, Zelina, go ahead.
It's fulgurite. It's like one of my favorites. Yes.
There you go.
So it's amazing. And I will tell you, it has amazing, amazing energy. I had one at one time in my travels, and the power in that particular piece was phenomenal.
What's it called again?
It's called fulgurite.
Fulgurite. Okay.
And I found it in one of these really obscure shops when I was traveling, and I don't think the guy even knew what he had, but he knew what it was. So I got it like a bargain, and it was like, and it came home with me for a while, and in it, somewhere in my travels, I lost her, but you know, it was an amazing piece. So I definitely with me being
nice.
And the Hoyoka bear and a thunder bean, fulgurite, it just meshed me into that energy level. And you know, I just think it was just a phenomenal. I may have to get another one, I think, because
you'll get one. Yeah, you'll come across one.
Amazing energy.
Okay. All right, so let's get to the second story. Let's
if the last thing I'll say, if that child had actually survived that and been hit by lightning, that child would be son of Shango.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Then
that would be son of Shango.
Yes.
I would say that the child would still be damaged in some sort of way. I mean, I don't think the child gets away scot-free, right? There would be some sort of physical damage, you know, for sure. But okay, let's get to the second story. I love this.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Easy to believe. This story is real. Yes, that's right. This is a true story. This happened way back in 2010 at an air show in Suffolk, England. The air show was being attended by 150,000 people And as the Red Arrows were performing is when the freak incident occurred. The boy struck suffered minor burns and got a pretty interesting story out of it. Something that'll add to the legend of the bizarre events that occurred on Friday the 13th.
Well, there you go. He probably got struck in the hand and minimal damage.
Tale of a psychic medium who helped spirits find peace and move on after they were murdered. While this sounds simple enough, in reality, it never is. It turns out that the psychic medium themselves was the killer. And to top it off, they're not even sure if they're gifted with ESP and everything was all in their head. So, are you ready to find out the truth behind this story?
Sure. Psycho killer.
This story is 100% too crazy to believe. Come on. A psychic medium that's a serial killer?
That could be
That
me.
would be in the headlines for years. This story
Come on.
is just
I
something.
could see that.
That could be me.
Absolutely. I will tell you. I will tell you. If I did not have kids and I could go back, I would be an assassin. You get to travel the world, you make money, and kill bad people. What part of that is a bad thing? I'm just saying.
I'm with you, Zarina. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's like click, click, boom. I'm right there, headshot.
I'm with you, Zarina. I really am. I could see that. Yeah. I missed my calling, you know?
Yeah, I did. I could have this really beautiful gun with a silencer, and it just made the sweet sound. It went pop. I'm telling you, legit. Don't blame me.
Hey,
Oh, so by the way,
sound?
just for the record, you know that I don't get the nickname Batman for nothing. I still believe.
I knew he was researching.
I still say that particular story is a falsehood. That only appeared on the Daily Mirror, which is a tabloid in England.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most unreliable news sources in England in terms of, I would not like. There's
Did you find that already?
Yeah. There's no other fact check.
He's Batman. He does this stuff.
Nobody else has proven. So if we're to base the veracity of that on a UK tabloid, which are the worst tabloids, worse than the Inquirer or anything else in the States, I wouldn't bet the farm on that. I still stick to my original analysis. I don't believe it.
Well,
I don't. What Jean-Jerome says. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Oh, you guys, this sounds official.
But he's a fact checker. I'm just saying. Facts.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Right?
No,
All right, John.
I still challenge him.
But you have to imagine something of that magnitude. If it were true, it wouldn't just be the Mirror, the only one that actually has that article. That was a tabloid article in the Mirror.
I know I stuck something in a light socket once and it wasn't pleasant. I survived it, but I think I'm still kind of out there.
You know what? I got my finger stuck in a light socket and I was in a tub full of water. And if it wasn't for Gumby in my other hand, I wouldn't be here. So,
But I love electricity. I have a TENS unit that I use like pretty much on the regular and I just crank it up. I love electricity. I don't know. It's just like, so.
I'm just saying,
Exactly.
Gumby saved my life.
Gumby saved your life?
Gumby?
Yes. Did I ever tell you about my Gumby story?
I don't know about Gumby, Teresa, but I want to know about the Gumby. What, Sean?
Before we get into the Gumby story.
Well,
I want to kind of stick with
Jean-Jerome. Oh God, here she goes.
So I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me to help him with a special project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see if I can find it here. It should be right here. So he asked me to help him with a special project. It's a video he made. He works with a YouTube channel and a Facebook page called History and Headlines. And in 1952, there was a monster seen in the West Virginia called the Flatwoods Monster. Have you guys heard of this story yet?
I've heard of the Flatwoods Monster. I have.
I only knew about it when you sent me the story. Only thing I know about is the Mothman, because at 12 o'clock at night, my car broke down in the middle of West Virginia on train tracks, and it was creepy, and I was stranded, and it was like a half mile where that whole Mothman thing happened. So I was
really for real.
Yes. Okay, but I want to go back to his flathead monster thing. I think
Please, yes.
But
So-
I'm saying the Mothman. Let's talk about that next.
Yes, let's talk about Mothman, and let's talk about the Flatwoods Monster. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, so
Sure.
first I want to tell you, I just realized something. I want to make sure that everybody can hear this, okay?
Uh-huh.
So this is just kind of an afterthought I just had, but
All right.
so just give me one moment here. I'm going to find it here. Oh, stupid.
So according to Facebook, the picture shown for that particular Flatwood monster is like some sort of moth person.
It is.
Type.
What?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm going to play a video.
So how did I get that
Ooh.
residual
I'm a-
information to connect that with Mothman?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm going to
It's your
play
third
the
eye
video.
oil. It's your third eye oil that's right in your eye, right?
Let me just put on my demonstration of my third eye. Seriously.
I love that thing. I think it's awesome.
My beautiful Luminae star, Amber Baker, made this amazing
I
third
love
eye
it. I think it's
bandana
awesome
for
looking.
me. And then while Sean's looking that up, I just got a little shout out. She made me Endora, my little witchy llama.
So cute.
And
Look at the witch's hat. Let me see its little witch's hat that it
And
has
you
on.
could look, you could put her hat all kinds of styles. And
So
then she
cute.
even has a little staff, a witchy staff, and a
Aw.
little bag of stones. So she put a lot
Aw.
of detail in this, and it's just simply amazing. I love it a long time.
That is so cute. And her name is Endora the Llama.
Yes.
Llama, ding dong.
So this is interesting. The link here is different than what's on my phone. That is so weird. But here we go.
Okay.
I found it otherwise. That's why it took me a
Yay.
while.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So stop it, phone. This is my phone's supposed to be smart. And it's really
Not so smart.
it's not doing what I wanted it to do.
It does catch you sleeping though for 45 minutes live on
no,
Facebook.
this is a different phone. I got a new phone. I did. I got a
Okay.
new phone. That phone
Me
was
too.
broken.
Yeah, because
So
you slept on it.
okay. So first, let's bring up the screen.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. So there's the screen. Go full screen. Oh, stupid phone. Okay. Ready?
On September 12, 1952, stunned citizens of Flatwoods, West Virginia and Braxton County met up with a monster that may have been a close encounter with an alien life form. The incident started with a bright object in the night sky seen by boys to crash or land at a neighboring farm. The boys ran home to collect adults and, accompanied by one of their mothers and a National Guardsman, along with more local kids, investigated the site. A tall creature about 7 feet tall, described as black or dark with a glowing face, appeared to be staring at the humans, a mist surrounding the creature. The monster was said to have an elongated head side to side, with inhuman-looking eyes and a cowl behind its head. Some descriptions of the monster include only stringy-looking arms with clawed hands or no arms at all, perhaps because the creature moved so fast it was hard to tell. The descriptions mainly repeated an unhuman appearance with what appeared to be a sort of exoskeleton. A pulsating red ball was seen on or near the ground, perhaps the alien's craft. Additionally, the creature in the incident had an olfactory presence as well, said to leave a sickening burnt metallic odor still prevailing. After the being and his craft were gone and law enforcement officials investigated. Canvassing the area found other witnesses to previous incidents where a similar creature or monster was seen. Some of the witnesses developed an illness that included vomiting and convulsions. Also known as the Braxton County Monster or the Phantom of Flatwoods, an episode of the television show Monster Quest in 2010 referred to the creature as the Lizard Monster. Non-paranormal explanations of the incident include a meteor being seen as happens often enough, sometimes with a more spectacular than usual light show, and the creature written off as an owl with its typical creepy eyes, moving quickly and displaying clawed hands. A notable meteor had been reported across 3 states that night, but of course, that is assuming the object was indeed a meteor. Some speculate the meteor struck the Earth, accounting for the mist and odor. Others believe the incident had something to do with a secret government project. Numerous cultural references to this incident have been made, including incorporating it in video games and a rock song. The folks around Flatwoods held a 3-day festival each year celebrating the incident, but the last festival was in 2006. You will have to ask them why. The Braxton County Convention and Visitors Bureau, braxtonwv.org, has created chairs in the supposed likeness of the monster in 2014. Big wooden things with an invitation to enter a paint my own chair coloring contest. They love their monster. As a question for my students and subscribers, what do you think? Is this another hokey incident either caused by misunderstanding or fraud? Or is it the real thing, a close encounter of the third kind? Please let us know in the comment section below this video. Here are a couple possible answers to this question.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is before I give my 2 cents,
Okay.
and my friend Brian gives his 2 cents. He goes first. And my video quality is horrible on this, but still, what do you guys think before we get into what I think?
All right. Here's my thought on this. Obviously, something had struck the earth at that time, and the fact that people were reported feeling sick afterwards, nausea, etc. This to me seems more logical in the sense of perhaps a meteor striking. Now, as far as people actually seeing this as a scary being or so, why wasn't there anything reported saying that the being had been, beamed up back into the spaceship? And was there an actual spaceship? Did anybody else report a spaceship being seen? No, just this being, so to speak. I am going to say no. Okay. I think it's a made up story. I think for sure it was probably the eyes that they saw could have been, there is an owl that their eyes shine red at night. I forget the name of the type of owl. I think it just happened to be coincidentally there at the time. I believe it was just a meteor, and whatever had resulted in the people getting sick was the exposure to that. Okay. So I'm saying, nah, I'm not buying it. But I like that there's a boogie woogie man there.
What do you think, Jean-Jerome?
I would tend to agree. I'd say perhaps some sort of meteor strike or something like that. And if people did actually see something, it could also, and they were also reporting, feeling ill or adverse effects. It could have been a hallucination and everything else, right? That would be my thing. Unless you have more than that, it's again. I always go with the basic premise that I tend to look to disprove or to look at any logical explanation.
You're more logical.
Before going into this is a spiritual event or something supernatural or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say
I tend to be a little more skeptical too, but I do love boogeyman stories.
Zarina?
I would tend to agree with them that it was just something surrounding that whole, incident in itself with the smoke, the meteorite, and everything, and maybe it just dazed and whatever emitted from that maybe disoriented the people to led them to see a different perception of something. That's what I am inclined to believe. So
okay. Well, I'm gonna let you guys
know more.
Well, we're gonna watch and find out.
Okay. What do you think, Sean?
What do you guys think? I think.
I think you're going to say yes. Well, were we right? Was I right? Okay.
Let's find out. Sorry, I have to get my phone ready just to make sure everyone has good sound.
Okay.
So I have to push play at the same exact time. This is very technical here.
I could see.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian. I love history and headlines, and today I wanted to just chime in my 2 cents on the Braxton County monster. I definitely think it's some kind of crypto or paranormal phenomena that we got going on here. Obviously statistically there's a chance that it could just be a hoax or that there could be something paranormal, but in my opinion, I think the whole mystery that surrounds itself and all the history that comes with this mystery actually brings a lot of people together and builds a huge community around it. So whether or not it was paranormal or just a hoax really doesn't matter. I would lean towards paranormal, not only because it's a lot more fun to think that way. There's not a lot of sample size of these things happening. And thirdly, I think it builds a community where it can actually bring people together and actually have, bring a lot of joy to this world. So that is what I think. I think the Braxton County monster definitely is something paranormal. So, all right, everyone.
Thank you, History and Headlines, for having me on. I love what you do. Keep up the good, hard work. My personal opinion on the Flatwoods monster in West Virginia is, well, I don't really think it's a hoax. With the limited research I have done on the monster, I personally think that since there has really only been one sighting, I think that it was probably a group of people who scared themselves. This happened back in a time period when there was a lot of fear with communism and war and everything. So I feel like that these were probably a group of people. They're in the dark woods. It was a foggy night, and it could have been an owl. I'm not quite sure, but I know it's very easy to get creeped out in the woods. And when you see glowing eyes, it's going to really scare anybody. Then if you look at the drawing of the monster, the shape behind it, it looks like a leaf. So it could have been the moonlight coming through into the fog. I'm not sure. But because it is such an isolated incident, I would say that this was probably just a case of people scaring themselves. Now, I don't want to downplay anybody's experiences or anything like that, but I really feel like with this case, that's probably what it is. All right.
If you like this video,
and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons.
Unanimous.
Your viewership is much appreciated. I also encourage you to check out Brian's
channel
on YouTube called Your Paranormal, as well as Sean's Facebook page for his Into the Abyss podcast.
Love it.
All right. So that is that. And that is my wonderful technology on how I can get sound and screen share at the same time.
But I still didn't hear from Jean-Jerome's travels, his creepy creature story.
Well, he hasn't told us the creepiest thing yet.
Yeah, come on, Jean-Jerome.
Real quick, though. Hold on, real quick. Okay. I just want to give History and Headlines a plug real quick. The guy I met, the guy who does that, he teaches at John Carroll University in Cleveland, Ohio, and I actually met him because he helped put together a paranormal team in this college, and it's a lot of people don't know this is a Catholic college, and they put together a paranormal team. Yeah, so it's really neat what they do, and what he does is awesome, and he's just a good guy. So make sure you check out History and Headlines. They have a ton of videos, and they're very informative and a lot of fun.
I will. They sound good. I like it.
Sounds very good. But I think it's very important. Like, I mean, we've gone through some stories of, Sasquatch. We've gone through, the two stories about, the lightning strike and this, and now this particular Flatwoods story. And I think there's a theme here. Is we all have a fascination with the unknown, and I think we would be considered to be more open-minded than most.
Right.
but I think one of the things that people watching your podcast and that knows myself, or even Teresa and Zarina and yourself, Sean, I think people are starting to see that we're not fanatics, and that not everything is something which is paranormal or something real mysterious, because I think we do a disservice if we don't have a sense of objectivity, if we don't have a sense of grounding. Mm-hmm. Right, that's what typically gives or can give anything in the paranormal or spiritual or supernatural, whatever term you want to use, a bad reputation, or we can be labeled as, some people with delusion or a fanatic and so forth. So I think people that are tuning in, like we've gone a little bit around from Sasquatch to something like a moth thing and everything else. But I think people are starting to see that this group here, both Into the Abyss and for ourselves, I guess, right? Like there is a lot of real things in life that we can make sometimes the shows or the sci-fi put it to shame. Yeah. Right? There are things that you can see in life and so forth. That can really put those things to shame. So I think it's very important, right? And I think the other lesson is always have an open mind. Always, and I like Sean. One thing I like very much, Sean, is your way you speak and you refer yourself to other people and other people's opinions and their stories. You do so with a lot of deference, a lot of respect, and I think that's very important, right? Because it's okay if we don't agree or we don't have sufficient evidence, or we haven't experienced ourselves. But again, even in the things which I might find very improbable, I will always keep an open mind, because we don't have the absolute truth.
No, we don't. None of us do.
Why these type of shows are very important, because all we're also trying to do is provoke thought, provoke analysis, provoke objectivity, and also humility, in the sense that we come from different traditions, we come from different experiences, different cultures, and I think we have to respect each other, everybody's, experiences, and that because they may be real for them. And again, we don't have an absolute truth. So it'd be very hard to flippantly dismiss somebody's experience. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Sean.
Yes.
Thank you. It's one thing I've learned in the paranormal is you have to keep you have to keep perspective, right? Yeah. And there's just because somebody has an experience, it's who am I to discredit their experience? Yeah. I can look at evidence, and I've been taught and trained to look at evidence and to debunk it. And I did that for the Ectovision videos, and I do that for my team now, and I do that for other cases and other people when they need help. But you have to keep perspective. I have clients that will show me a video, and it's just like, okay, I could definitely explain what's going on here, but you have to remember these people are sharing this with me because they're scared. Yeah. So you got to keep that kind of like perspective. So, and you don't want to downplay people. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to make someone feel stupid. That's not the point. That's not why I'm not in this to make anyone feel stupid. I'm not in this because I want to make myself feel stupid.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say real quick, hi, Melvin's here.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And I want to say real quick, shout out to Dave Peterson.
Hey, Melvin.
He is in my folk magic society group. He is a magic man, excellent at talismans and everything. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, saying, "Hey, Dave." He does a lot of classes on Zoom, so he is amazing in his teaching.
So wait a minute, he does like magic or magic.
Magic. He's a magic man. Yeah, really? Yeah. So I'll have to.
He's a magic man.
He just did one on talismans, and I have personal talismans from him that I will tell you is like, bam, right.
I love it.
Well, you should bam get him on the show.
All right, Dave.
Yeah. I want to watch that. I'd like to watch that. I love that.
Dave, please let Zarina know if you're interested in coming on the show. We are interested in having you. Melvin, if you're still here,
he is.
Jean-Jerome doesn't believe your true story.
Wait, I'm on board with Jean-Jerome. I support Jean-Jerome too.
No, it's very man, the one thing about being on camera, like you look at yourself and you're like, and I'm a hot mess. I haven't gotten my hair cut in who knows how long. So Melvin says, really? So now here's the thing.
Sorry, brother.
Jean-Jerome brought up some very, very good points. But the thing is that I want to ask you before we explain any further, where did you get the story from? Melvin, I would even bring you on so you could tell us live, but if you could just message it, however you want to do it.
That'd be great if you could bring him online.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we can
Melvin,
get him.
the man of mystery behind the horns.
Let's see if we can. Let's see. I don't know. It's very unexpected, so this is putting him very much on the spot. But let's see.
No pressure, Melvin.
No pressure, Melvin. But you better come on. I'm sending you a link. If you feel like coming on, you can even come on without a camera.
So, we can just hear your voice.
Yeah,
but
we'll just envision the red little.
I would love to see your face.
Bovine.
Yeah. So we don't want to see your face. I'm just saying.
Oh, Serena says you better bring camera.
Yes, I'm just saying.
So, but Melvin, it's so great though. It's so fun how like something like this can bring up so much topic. I mean, we started off with a show that was supposed to have the Bigfoot guys come on, which is cool. We're gonna have Bigfoot guys come on. It's just a matter of who and when.
I love it.
I just want to find. I mean, these guys. I was impressed by them. I was really hoping, but it's hard when you. I mean, you have different time zones. We're on different ends of the world, and it's hard. Yeah. It's hard sometimes. So maybe I'll try and get someone who's more local.
Jean-Jerome, we might have them as guests, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh boy, Bigfoot. I love it. I love it.
I know some Ohio Bigfoot guys. I see. I was born in San Diego, and I just thought it'd be fun. So, but we'll get some more local people, at least some Eastern or Central time zone people, so that the time zone isn't so different. Now, what's funny about that is Melvin is in Southern California.
Oh, wonderful! Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
what's the time difference for him? Is it
3 hours?
3 hours.
3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah, okay.
So while we're waiting to see what Melvin does,
we're all waiting for Melvin. Melvin.
I got this wonderful gift.
Oh yes, yes. Bring your books out.
Check this
I
out.
love that. The chick. You called it a crow's foot, right?
Yeah, it's my crow's foot.
Yeah.
Because you got it from Zarina Crow.
That's right.
Crow.
Exactly. Exactly. So Zarina, people couldn't hear the explanation of what this stuff is. And Jean-Jerome and Teresa, if you guys can chime in too, and so that we can all learn as much about this as possible. Now, we don't want to get too personal. A lot of the stuff is extremely personal, so we don't want to get too personal, but
just give us a bit of history, Zarina, as to why you chose this and these things. Okay.
I initially chose it for him because I know that he goes out there in the field, and I wanted him to have a source of protection around him, especially when he has to deal with the elementals, and something very strong and personal for him. Now, I completely make these from homemade. I buy them fresh. I dry them out. I paint them. I decorate them, all according to how the spirit gives me exactly for each person that I make these particular fetish or chicken foot for. And I do have the name, the Chicken Foot Queen. People love my chicken feet. So particularly with him, the skulls represent 9 generations back. And of course the red and black represents Eshu for him. And just the different feathers, there is coated in certain oils, and blessed and fed, of course, in order to make it strong and have his guardian. And also as well, I believe there's on the end a little gold medallion that I asked the gypsies to bless and protect him as well, so that he can have a little bit of both of what I am in that. And then there's a little tiny bottle of what Baba was Jean-Jerome was talking about the other day on you guys' show, the Ifun, the Cascarilla, which is additional protection that can be placed on the top of the head, or just in significant places for that protection. And I typically put it on the crown or on the back of my neck.
I do the same.
Yeah, and so that's FYI, Sean, typically where it goes, just for that extra protection in that. Yeah.
Should we repeat that where we put it, Sean, just so you know?
Because I just got totally sucked into something else.
I thought so, because you looked up and you went, oh no, I missed the instructions.
I know, he's zoned out on my IKEA instructions. So
I'll tell you what I do, Sean. Okay, when I take the fun, I take some. I have a little container that Jean-Jerome had given me. He made it, I guess. And anyway, I take it, and the first thing I do is I put it right at the top of my head, like right there. Okay, and I put a little bit in the middle of my third eye, so it kind of like protects my third eye, but opens it. So I go from here to here, to the top of my head, and then at the base of my skull. Okay, this is so that your entire head is protected from being accosted by spirit, like bad spirits, spiritual entities that you don't want around you, or those that are going to bother you. Okay, so basically that. I put a little bit on my wrist should I have to do anything physical when I'm at a paranormal investigation or so. I like to put some on my wrist. I put them I put it on my belly button, and then I put it on my 2 knees, and then at my 2 big toes, okay, to just kind of basically cover me entirely. You can do whatever you want, but make sure your head is protected. That's the main thing. That's what I do.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. So what I think about this, my wife asked me, "What is it for?" And I told her it's for protection, and she said we need to bring it on our family vacation. So
for sure.
Yep.
For sure. I love that. That's so cute.
So this is what I got zoned into. I took it out of my box and I zoned into it. What is this?
Oh, the bat head root.
Yeah.
Yes. I have one of those too.
You guys, I'm sorry. I just kind of sucked into it.
It's the energy. You went down the rabbit hole.
I did.
It's protection. It's very protective. Okay. That's what I use it. You can program them to basically be an entity of protection for yourself. Okay. So you can, go somewhere or whatever. And these are your little minions, basically, right? You'd have to consecrate it and, breathe life into it, do a whole ritual about it. And
see, there's your confirmation. Because I told him that last week, and then I didn't tell you that I told him that last week. So there you go, Sean.
So Melvin, you said you messed up getting in here. Let's try again, man.
Melvin.
Melvin.
I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
We missed you already.
Oh, here he is.
Okay.
Melvin.
Okay.
Yeah. It's him.
Melvin.
Melvin, is that you?
Am I here? Hello?
Hello.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can. I should probably close the other tab, though.
Oh.
Hi, Melvin. This is great. We get Melvin live.
We do.
Hello.
I know. It's not Memorex. I'm so excited right now. Let me do a dance.
Yeah, I literally just got done with an Unexplained Possibilities, and Sean was messaging me, Melvin, it's not working. The video isn't playing. And it's like, uh-oh. So I sent him the audio file, so I hope that worked. I guess it did. So
it did.
It did.
Great.
So, and I can't stay too long because I have pizza coming.
Well, I feel like I want Melvin, his voice, to like narrate my life story. It's just like
I know. Melvin.
I know. He has one of those.
Your voice is like butter. Like melted butter on popcorn. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He needs to do audiobooks. He would make bank at audiobooks. I'm just saying. I would totally.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Jean-Jerome, look, it's Melvin.
Hey,
hello.
Very nice to meet you or to hear your voice.
Okay, so you asked where the story was from, and you're like, no, it's not real, correct?
Yes.
Well, I was
the only one, Melvin. I was the only one who said yes.
I got this story from 2 sources, the Mirror and the Daily Mail, both of them British. And they told the story, and that's where I got it from. And I, turned it into a Too Crazy to Believe.
Yeah. Correct. No, I agree. That's what I was saying. Like, the thing is, the Mirror is a tabloid. The Daily is a little bit more like realistic and so forth, but I don't trust typically things coming from the Mirror because it's always sensationalist. The Mirror has been sued more times than you can, throw a stick at them, right? So, but it may be true. But as I say, I wouldn't. For me, it's a very dangerous thing because children being hit by lightning. Again, France had multiple fatalities because of lightning strikes and children being hit, right? So
yeah, but it's not unheard of because I believe in Las Vegas or it was Arizona, there was another 13-year-old boy who was hit by lightning.
Wasn't there a guy that got hit by lightning like a bunch of times in his life?
He was struck 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, that's a bunch of times if you ask me. I don't know.
Yeah, I only know one person that got hit by lightning, and is a santero. He's an Olorisha here in Toronto. The gentleman is now in his late 60s, early 70s, and he got hit by lightning, and he survived. And then he got run over by a truck and survived. And he was taken to a santera, which basically did divination for him. I said, "You've survived twice. Don't look for the third time." And he had to crown Orisha at a very young age. He crowned Obatala.
Really? Obatala?
Obatala. He crowned Obatala. And from that, he got left like a white, from the lightning strike and everything. It was like a white thing here. And it was crowned Obatala. And it was said, if you don't crown, you're going to, I saw that.
Yeah, you shared that with me, right? So this is the article. Yeah, it's on BBC News.
Oh yeah, also BBC.
No, I understand, but look at the. Have you seen typical BBC reporting?
Yeah.
Does that look like a typical
BBC?
No, I understand, but what I'm trying to say is, does that look like a typical BBC article?
No, this article came from elsewhere.
Yeah,
but...
so they fed it. Yeah. They didn't even go into it. Like they just
they just printed it.
So I don't trust that very much, right? I don't dismiss it, but I don't know. That's my personal opinion. Let's put it that way.
So,
okay, you're entitled to your personal opinion. That's okay. I was the only one who said it was true, and I was right. Just saying.
You're just saying, right?
Teresa, you totally get ice cream. I'm just saying.
Oh, I want ice cream.
Oh, don't say that word. It's my Achilles heel. That and pizza.
Oh.
Melvin, I'm jealous.
Oh, well.
You said pizza. I've got it stuck in my head now.
Well, Melvin, what kind of pizza do you have coming?
This is pepperoni cheese stuffed crust.
What?
Pizza Hut?
You're killing me right now,
the
bro.
Pizza Hut by my house closed. I'm upset.
This is not from Pizza Hut. This is actually from Little Caesars because I refuse to pay more than $10 for a pizza. So
yay,
I'm
Melvin.
getting 2 for
Little
10.
Caesars has stuffed crust pizza.
Melvin, I'm with you.
Like I love Little Caesars $5 hot and ready. I got 3 kids. There's nothing better than going and pulling right up, getting $5 hot and ready, going to the park, having some pizza, and going on a hike or something.
It's
so that's
filling, it's cheap, and it's good.
Exactly.
but
yeah,
I
believe Pizza Hut, they had an exclusive. They signed something where no other competition was able to do stuffed crust, and I think that finally expired, and everyone can do it now. Some type of some weird stupid thing because in Mexico, they Little Caesars and a few other places were doing stuffed crust. It was just here that they couldn't do it because Pizza Hut, they had it on lock.
Oh.
Pizza Hut on lockdown.
Okay.
It's on lockdown.
It's like the Walmart of pizzas.
You know, it's the end of times when Pizza Hut can lock down through a patent. Pizzas are locked down by patents now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have trust. It is bad.
End of time.
End of time.
It's end of time.
So, Melvin, I appreciate you coming on here because these stories that you write are amazing. I hope to get more. I just need to perfect what's going on with my computer. I'm having trouble having anything down off of my Google Drive. I don't know why, but I'm getting errors, so I'm going to have to fix it. And
that is just slap it a few times. Works for me.
You know,
the technology.
IT guys, I'm just saying.
Melvin's helped me through so many things, and he knows technology hates me. It's just
speaking of which, hold on, guys. I've got to go plug in my phone. I really seriously have to get a new phone. Anyway, excuse me. I'm going to go and put my charger in. So you'll see me in my kitchen, okay, for the next little while. All right.
So, Melvin, did you see the live feed I did of the awesome gifts that Zarina made me?
I saw part of it, not the whole thing. I had to go, unfortunately, but I did see one thing that was weirdly shaped, and it reminded me of a star. And I believe you even said, "What is this?" And that was around the time where it was, Zarina, where are you? Come on, I need you.
Was that this?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is
Devil's
that?
pod.
That is a bat head root. And it
Or
is
devil's pod, isn't it? Isn't that the other name?
Pod. And what it is, it's used in my type of magic, chaos magic, to create a magical entity, a servitor, or a being, and to allow it to task out for whatever you need. That's basically how that works. And my realm of magician magic.
Okay. Now, what about what would you recommend for something that'll help clear your energy and keep you somewhat balanced?
My spirit water. I will make you up some. And
I don't need it. I was just curious.
Well, you can't.
Remember, Melvin will talk to paranormal investigators, and he'll go over investigations, but he will not go on an investigation.
Well, I don't need to go on an investigation. It's just, it's not my calling.
His calling is to do awesome podcasts. I agree.
Yes. And I feel his calling is to be an observer. I always felt that with him. And I like the aspect that he brings an unbiased kind
100%.
of thing, perspective to a lot what he does. And it just allows everyone to determine their own opinion and their own thoughts about that. And he just creates an
environment
posts the knowledge for everyone to be able to, of course, arrive at their own destination of what he shares with us. So that's my thing with Melvin.
And he's very honest and very respectful about his honesty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow, it's going to get a brick thrown through my window.
So, that's my story. I'm sticking to it with Melvin. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're one of my favorites.
Oh.
Oh, you made him blush. I could hear it.
I know.
I'm a little boy at heart.
I know. That's one of my Serena's secret powers. I make men blush. Pretty much.
But, Sean, if you want some more Two Crazies, Two Believes, I could probably think up a few more things. I'll send it your way. I don't mind.
That'd be awesome. Sure. Or even if you would let me, I know you make your own shows of Too Crazy to Believe. If I can even steal some of your shows and maybe air some of your stories from your shows, if we can make a team that way, whatever works for you.
No,
but
that's fine.
Love your stories. I love your stories, and I want to keep sharing them.
Now, I'm getting ready to put you on the spot. Aside from the Into the Abyss edition, did you listen to the other Too Crazy to Believes?
No. I want to. Melvin, go ahead.
Okay.
Sean, go ahead. I don't know. I want to hear them.
So, like my kids, everyone's like everyone else's kids. They're at home nonstop, and so my son's like really big into Fortnite, and I wanted to relate with him and stuff. So I've kind of been playing Fortnite.
Okay. Now
I just got into it, so I've been doing that a lot, like probably too much lately. So
now. I'm getting ready to put you on the spot again. I'm just making you sweat just because. But you got to remember, the Too Crazy to Believes have been around probably before you started getting into Fortnite, and on average they're 5 minutes long, if not shorter. What's your excuse, Sean?
You wait a minute. Didn't you had me do a Too Crazy to Believe on your show, right?
No, I was with you and John. John.
Yeah.
Ward, and
yes, it was on my show.
But I said, aside from the Into the Abyss edition, have you checked out any of the Too Crazy to Believe?
I watched the first one. I did, but it was a long time ago.
So I'm sorry. I'm just giving you a bad time. Just to give you a bad time.
You are. Oh my goodness.
Putting him on the spot. There we go.
I know. Okay. So I'm totally like that guy that wants to support all of my friends. My sister has a YouTube channel. So I might watch videos and give them a thumbs up and maybe not actually be paying attention. But I do support and give a thumbs up.
Hey, that's what matters.
For sure. We'll go with that, okay, Sean?
That is honest truth. You guys, he put me on the spot. So my boss even says that sometimes I am too like almost honest to a fault. So there you go. I'll watch them, Melvin. I'll watch them and I will give you a full report.
No, don't even worry about it.
I will, and I'll comment.
Melvin, if you give us your link, I'd like to watch them for sure. Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, that will be no problem, Sean, with your permission.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. This is your rodeo, man.
What's my rodeo?
Woo! Rodeo.
What about Zarina? It's her rodeo too.
Zarina?
This is an 8-second ride. Let's rock on, man. I'm just telling you. That's how we roll on this show.
We share.
Yeah. Sharing is caring. I'm just saying.
Okay. Now,
you want to share?
How do I link this?
I don't know. I don't do that techie side.
What are you trying to do now?
I want to link Teresa the playlist for Too Crazy to Believe, and I see live comments and private chat. Do I just do it in private?
Do private chat, yeah. We can pick it up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
We could play one now.
Let's.
Yes, because I got to
Melvin, you could go get your pizza, and we'll play another one. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, because I'm excited to hear Jean-Jerome debunk everything. I love it. He's like the devil's advocate. I love that role that he plays.
I am the party pooper.
You are not the party pooper. You're the devil's advocate. I love it.
No, he's Batman.
Well, I will recommend you skip the first one if you're going to go to the playlist. That was just the test to see how it will work, and I will be right back. I do think that might be my pizza.
Okay, go get it.
Awesome, Melvin.
Today was
Okay.
pizza night. Everybody had pizza tonight.
Oh, I wanted pizza and I didn't get it. Jeez. So you know
I
what?
had chimichangas with refried beans, and it was so good and yummy. I went to lunch with Amber, and it was like the bestest thing ever.
Nice.
And I had an amazing shot of tequila that knocked me not off my ass. But
I know what I'm doing after the show.
And then I had a Modelo Negro. It was my favorite in the whole world, and so my life was good today. So I'm just saying.
Excellent.
Well, I'm just saying I'm sitting here and I'm snacking because as soon as I heard pizza, I had to go for pizza. So you know what I went and did? What? I went and got the party mix, right? And I'm sitting here sneaking little snacks.
Okay, that was not my pizza. That was people kicking a ball.
I have only snacks that I have are Nutter Butters, and I'm kind of burnt out on the Nutter Butter thing. I went through a whole spurt of Nutter Butters, but it was like in Twizzlers, and then I'm over it. So I'm kind of bored right now with those. So what are we doing now? What's going on?
We're waiting for an episode of Weird or What, or
Too Crazy to Believe. Weird or What?
Oh, I like that. I might have to steal that.
It's been done already. It was a William Shatner show. Weird or What?
I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Weird or What. This is the show where
I
you
like it a
describe
lot.
what is what and if it's weird.
You'll have to ask William Shatner. I think he's already done it.
But just don't wear a red shirt, because you know what happens if you wear a red shirt.
Oh yes, but red or crimson rather is my favorite color. So
what happens if you wear a red shirt?
Have you not watched Star Trek?
Sean, where have you been, bro?
I'm not a big Trek.
All the red shirts die in Star Trek.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I'm not a big Trek. I'm not a big Star Trek guy. I'm not. I'm sorry.
It's always the ensigns that get it, right? They're the ones who die.
What?
Ensign Red Shirt always
now
gets
my
it.
piece is here. I will be right back again. And good luck
All right,
trying to
Melvin.
get an episode going, Sean. What's happening, man? Come on.
Oh, you guys are chatting away. I didn't want to be rude.
Oh, I want to know from Jean-Jerome still his crazy creature story. I'm still waiting on his crazy creature story.
Yes, fill us in. A quick one,
I've
Jean-Jerome.
literally been like sitting here like, in anticipation.
Weird creatures or what?
Go
Go ahead.
Yes, Jean-Jerome, I want weird creatures.
Weird creature, really?
Please and thank you.
And don't say Teresa, okay?
Teresa's Bigfoot. that's his thing. Are you gonna play now, Sean?
Nope. I want to hear a story.
We want to hear
weird.
I was getting ready. I was getting it ready.
Weird or what from Jean-Jerome?
Well, this is a true story. It's not exactly a weird creature, but Teresa knows about this. So,
okay.
For months, for almost a year, I had been having a certain dream of a particular house and a particular manifestation of a spirit force in that house that was residing in the basement. I could see the inside of the house, the living room, the basement, everything, like literally in living color. And it was a recurring dream over months. And
I had the similar dream.
And she had a similar dream. And then on the day of a ceremony of Handavorula, Sifa, Teresa had actually come to that particular ceremony. And then I told her and a few of her friends that I have a feeling that we're going to be called to do, because they were doing investigations at that time.
Yes.
And I have a feeling you're gonna get called to an investigation where you're gonna call me to go with you. Mm-hmm. And I described the place. I described the house. I described what I saw and everything.
Absolutely.
And then 2 months exactly from that date, Teresa calls me and say, "Oh, Jean-Jerome, I think I just got the call that you were expecting. You told me about." And the interesting thing about that house, and what I saw in that house, is that the person or the entity giving me showing me that house was an Iyami, was an ancestral mother, and she was telling me that the spirit force, which was essentially like a creature, if you will, was in the basement. So when they got the call, they said, Jean-Jerome, would you be able to go? Because, as you know, everything in Ifa begins with a divination. So I said, well, I don't mind going there because I've been expecting that. The Yami, I've already been told that I was going to go and so forth. 3 nights before we actually drive out there, and it was about a 2-hour drive from all our homes.
Sorry, Serena.
That was not me.
Serena.
Serena.
Stop!
I'm playing it.
No, you please don't let Jean-Jerome finish his story.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be rude. This is like, wow, my phone. Like, okay, I got a new phone. I don't know how to use it, but so like, this just came up on my phone.
Oh my god!
I'm playing it.
Oh, that's funny.
Go ahead.
No. So we ended up. So, anyways, I had seen the entity in the basement of this place that I had seen was very dark, but it was again something not to be trifled with, but something that had to be appeased. Okay, and then 3 nights before that we went out there, I had another dream which showed me exactly the path that we had to take. We did divination and all that of the things that we had to do, and one of the things was that we had to, if I had said we had to take flowers, clean ourselves with flowers, and leave it in the cemetery closest on an unmarked tomb or any tomb near the place on the way to this place. So we did that. Did the thing. We got to the place. When I come into the house, the mother of the young man who was being one experiencing the spiritual phenomenon says, "I've seen you here before. You've been in my house before." And I described everything I had described about the inside house was exactly what I had seen in my dream.
Wow.
And when I consulted Ifa and I began to say, to the young man what Ifa said and what was described, the entity that was in the basement and all that, which was actually an Orisha, but a very dark Orisha, which has to do with swamps, because his property is built basically in a part of Ontario which is swampland. So that the land is almost like taken back from the swamp, and that's why. And this house had like an open sort of septic well system in the basement, uncovered, where this entity was residing. And this entity, he had called Catholic priests, he had called other people, and he said that when the Catholic priest tried to
mediums,
house blessing, and all that, the Catholic priest saw the apparition and literally left the house running.
Wow.
Left the house running. And this entity would scratch and everything else. So so we did the reading. We had to do bows and offerings, and we had to appease the entity right in that hole, basically, which represented the link to its domain, so that it would withdraw and leave the young man alone. The man, when we met him, Teresa will tell you, he was skinny like you won't believe. Like literally, he had not been able to sleep or eat or anything else for
months.
For months and months.
Yep.
So that was quite the experience. And everything else.
Yeah. No, for sure, it was. It was quite the entity. We had quite the experience with that entity, as I recall.
Yeah. No, we had to do the appeasements and everything else. So that's what I'm saying. That there are things that sometimes
there are things that go bump in the night and are true.
Definitely.
I
Wow,
know.
that kind of reminded me of a story. I knew a friend who they said that they got a spirit and they had to trap it in a crystal. Is there anything?
It's possible. Some Siberian shamans actually wear mirror-like talismans, and what they do is they actually trap the spirits, the bad entities, in these mirrors that they hold, So they work with their spirits, their ancestral spirits, to I guess gather or entice the bad entities right into a mirror. So you could substitute that for a crystal and therefore entrap it in there, right? And then dispose of it however ritualistically.
As Teresa, the use of mirrors and also trapping in bottles or in some form of crystals is an integral part of voodoo.
And I will tell you,
part of voodoo.
There is a series that is on Netflix, and it's called Diabloneros, and it has a young guy and the old guy that was in one of my top favorite movies is called Apocalyptica, and they are essentially demon hunters, and that's what they were doing. They trapped them in the bottles. And so if anybody's not ever seen that series, I loved it just because it's a little bit cheeky, but it's just like I love those two actors because that movie was just phenomenal. I love the aspect of what it brought into as far as like he talked about fear and just everything. There were so many layers in that movie that is just like in my top 10.
Yeah, and they pull because Mexico has become a mecca for different belief systems. You have representation of Ogun, representation of Orisha worship, representation of their own indigenous beliefs that have, surfaced in different manifestations like Santa and other things like that.
This video really wants to play because it keeps on playing. I don't want it to play.
And one of my favorite aspects is because when I was in
I'm just gonna play it.
Oh my!
All right, here we go.
Oh my God, Sean, really?
Hold that thought. So,
oh my Lord.
Is it TikTok?
I will be okay. I look at them another way. Not ashamed of my color, put the comments in the gutter. Getting tougher, all the things I hear keep on getting duller. Thank you very much, now I'ma clap back. Feeling like I'm good enough because I know I'm on track. Bad thoughts. Now you're gone, I can float and be the queen I'm meant to be.
I love it.
Grow.
Zarina, grow. I love it, Zarina.
Oh,
You were awful. You were just really.
You're a rock star, Zarina.
I am something, but I don't know what. I'm like telling
that
you.
was good. Was that TikTok?
No, that is not TikTok.
Oh.
That is actually Snapchat. Because I have not TikToked yet officially because I'm still learning it. But I love my Snapchat. So, you know.
I don't know how you could do all the social media stuff. It's so confusing.
Because I'm a diva. I'm absolutely a diva. So, but segue back into what I was saying is like when I was in El Paso and everything, I had a real deal experience. And as Jean-Jerome was talking about, is what really significantly tied me into a lot of things with my own culture and some things coming through is the Saint Merte. Saint Merte is
Santa Muerte.
Santa Muerte.
And it's just like it was just such a vivid experience, and even throughout in this last year, how she has just been just so introduced in certain aspects of my life. Even I have a card deck that I love. That deck is just like on point, and it's bam, and it's just like in your face, and she is no joke, and I love it. So
you know what? You know what's crazy? I growing up in Ohio from my teenage years, I had a lot of into my kind of 20s. I had a lot of like really scary paranormal experiences. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Nothing. Not a bad dream. Not anything. Every once in a while, I'd get like a feeling. Of course, right? But it was nothing. Like I didn't come across anything like that bad. But I listened to my and I had a good friend. Like he listened to my intuition more than I did. But that's like it. It was nothing like crazy. I come back to Ohio and it's like the shit hits the fan again. It was maybe it's because whatever the spirit was left at home with the family, and then I left and it was left. But even when I went and visited my grandparents over the fall and last spring, it's still kind of the same thing. My anxiety levels were lower. I didn't feel it the same. I didn't. I don't know. It's why would it be that like in a different part of the country, I would experience spirit in a different way?
I have a theory.
Yes, go ahead, Serena. I have a theory too.
Ley lines, and every territory has its spiritual entities, or what I would say, princes in a way. So depending energies. So depending on what area you go, and like Arizona is really noted for their ley lines. So it's going to be grounded, and the energy is going to affect things so differently. Especially that's why a lot of people who are into that spiritual movement, especially want to go to Sedona because of those.
I love Sedona. I love Sedona.
Exactly, and it's Arizona, the native people, the indigenous people, from everything from the Navajo to the former Hopi people and the Pueblos. That whole area is just it's just zinging with energy. Okay,
I'll tell you what. I went camping in Sedona. I never felt more at home. Ever in my life. Like that's where I was home. So
that's interesting. I have a friend who she used to live in Sedona, and she would tell me some creepy stuff, but the energy there, she would say, would affect her in ways that it just should not have. She would see faces in the walls, things forming in the sky that shouldn't be forming, and she never felt at peace. She always felt like she was being watched and like something was following her.
Interesting.
Well, you know what's kind of funny is that at that point in time in my life, I was used to feeling like I was being watched. because there was always something watching me. I don't know. So that didn't bother me as much. I felt grounded in Sedona, and I felt in peace. I actually went up climbed up one of the natural monuments there, just because I felt drawn to. And it was just a very peaceful. I don't know. I just felt at home. It's weird. Last spring, I went to a old mine that's there, and that place was insane. There's you could feel the spirits all around you.
Was this in Arizona, the mine?
Yeah. It was the Vulture. What is
Canyon?
it? The Vulture Mine, Old Vulture. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Old Vulture Mine or something. Hold on. Vulture. I think it's just the Vulture Ghost. Vulture City is what it was called. Vulture City Ghost Town. It's an old mining town. Actually, they still mine there. But they have a lot of the old mining things there.
What do they mine there?
There's gold in them hills. Sorry.
It was a gold mine. It was one of the most productive gold mines from 1863 to 1942.
See, I
there you go.
The mine produced 340,000 ounces of gold and 260 ounces of silver.
See, I told you. See, I told you.
Zarina.
Psychic. I'm telling you.
It's that psychic oil that you stuck in your eye.
I know.
LeMay Star says Arizona is amazing. I experienced a Kundalini awakening there, and didn't even know what that was at the time, and I did nothing consciously to invoke it. Such a great experience. You know what?
Linnea. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't know what that is, but that place is just so. We were up on this plateau and by our campsite, and we were just hanging out there, having a good time, taking in the nature. And I turned around. Actually, not true. I went around a bush and I took a leak, and I looked down, and there's bear pellets right there. I was like, "Oh, guys, we're not alone." So that was interesting. And seriously, I was like, "Guys, well, we really probably should go because these look really fresh." And so we start walking towards the trail, and we hear this little. I'm like, I've heard that on the Discovery Channel. It's like, this is not good. I related it to being bear cubs, and so we got out of there as fast as we could. Because we did not want to upset the mama bear. So,
oh God, no!
Right. So that's why I said, I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a bear cub." And where there's baby bears, there's mama bears, and that means we need to leave. So, but if that was just like that was still an experience. So it was a spiritual experience, like the whole thing of being there and being a part of Sedona. So
wow. So Sean, I guess we answered your question in regards to can you capture a spirit in a crystal? Unanimously, we said yes.
I didn't even know that. I heard that story when I first got into the paranormal, and before I got extremely spiritual. I was just getting into doing spirit circles and tapping into being an empath. So it's really cool.
Can Jean-Jerome explain what a Kundalini awakening is?
Yes, please, if you will.
A Kundalini awakening.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Okay. All right. My understanding, I read about this years ago, but Apparently, what it is when someone is aligned, all their chakras are aligned and alive, okay, and they're all teaming and working congruently together. If someone is in a place, or someone can actually enforce it on someone, like not force it on someone, what am I trying to say? They can actually trigger the response. And what it does is it's supposed to feel like a lightning rod right up your back and basically blows your mind. And spiritually, you become attuned to everything and everyone around you. Okay, so it's like a spiritual awakening. Okay, and apparently it's quite profound. And in some cases, it can be very frightening for someone if they're not prepared for it, because not only can they, they happen, if all your chakras are aligned, but sometimes it's a hormonal thing. And from my understanding also is young women or men going through that age where, their hormones are acting up and everything, they can have a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and it can be very frightening because it can open up psychic gifts and intuitive gifts in general, and this can have a very profound effect on someone. So it can be very pleasant, you can prepare yourself for it, or it can happen spontaneously, and if it does, it can be a little bit of a traumatic experience for somebody.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of a planetary alignment, actually.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. If you think about the macrocosm and the microcosm, right? As above, so below. So I could see that.
And a lot of that energy, when you're all connected, is for me, in how I work things, is definitely in chaos magic, because it ties in with tantric energy. So it allows you to manifest at a rapid rate, because it's that raw energy that you're tapping into. So
talking about lightning just a little while ago, it's that type of energetic lightning that happens.
And it's almost how they explain it is like it starts at your sacral chakra, and
Exactly.
what it is, and it's like a snake or a serpent or a dragon for some, and it just kind of coils around like that. Your spinal, and it comes up, and it just kind of just pushes everything out and allows you to connect, like Teresa says, as above and so below, as within and as without. And it just allows you to certainly just vibrate at a different level in your frequency, for whatever magical intent that you're doing, or what is happening. So it's just raising your vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes.
Wow, you mean there was something I knew, Jean-Jerome, that you didn't?
That's right.
All right.
Batman.
That's it.
I know, we should write that in the journal.
That's
I know.
520, 926.
I'm going to write this in the journal. I am definitely going to write this in the journal.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh, here, Linda Dix. Our friend Linda Dix is on. She says it's frightening if you don't know what's happening, but it's awesome when you do, and you can experience this more than once.
Thank you, Linda. Yep.
Yes.
All right. So, all right.
And I don't want to be rude, but I am going to have to make my escape. My dinner's getting cold.
Before you go,
Bon appetit, yes.
I was just about to get into playing your video. Where am I going to find the answer to this one? I was going to play the Crees.
Crees hanging.
That's the answer video. Hold on.
Yeah,
you don't want me to play
I
that
would
one?
actually recommend you play A Knock on the Door. And I say that one because it's just dealing with something a bit different than what we all discuss on the daily.
Where is it?
Excuse me one sec.
Okay.
Here, Crees hanging. Hold on.
There, I just linked it.
Gonna make it easy for me. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
And here is the answer.
I was reading all these messages from Jean-Jerome. I'm sorry. It's not that obvious that I have ADHD, is it? Okay, so.
And I just saw all the answers in the private chat from him too, and I'm like, he is. I love you, Jean-Jerome. You're such a fact guy. I like it a lot. Ooh, I love it. Okay.
Okay. So now,
Okay,
I'm going to do this. I'm going to go onto the Facebook, and I'm going to.
So is Melvin leaving? Is he headed out?
Oh no, I'll wait till after this play.
Are you sure? I don't want you to have cold pizza. The cold pizza. I mean,
Melvin.
as a bachelor, it was okay, but as a grown man, you know.
Well, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I'm a bachelor still, so.
I'm sorry. I was a bachelor, and I was a young guy. I relate being a bachelor as being a young, in my 20s, guy.
And now you're calling me an old fart.
Melvin.
No,
okay.
man, I don't know. I think that we're pretty close in age. I don't know.
What? Melvin's like 20 something, right?
Nope.
What?
40 something.
What? I lost on Jeopardy. I totally was pegged you as like 28 or 20. Said 27, 28.
Melvin, do tell.
I wrote the age in chat in private.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you are younger. Oh. I thought you were older.
I'm old as dirt.
He's just mature. I just see Melvin
as
as
very mature for his
He
age.
is. He's very much an old soul. He's like an avatar that's been around telling stories like the beginning of the ages you refer back to. Once upon a time, long ago, Melvin Born tells us the stories of the ages. Of the centuries. Sorry.
He's the sage of the century.
Yes, I love that, Teresa.
I have to steal that too.
Yes.
What about a squire? I always wanted a squire.
Really?
Like, isn't the squire the guy that follows you with the little mandolin and he sings about your adventures?
He's the one that says, throw a coin to your witcher. Oh, wait, you've never watched it.
She's going to throw that in your face again. I haven't watched it either, Sean, so don't feel bad.
Oh, my gosh.
I have. It's actually quite good. The Witcher is quite good.
Thank you, Jean-Jerome. I love you so much.
I've read the books and played the game, so I do know it's good.
Yeah, it's actually
there you go. Melvin, the man of many, many, many faces.
Just remember to throw a coin for your Witcher.
So now I have to go here. All right, sorry guys, this takes a little bit of prepping here because of the way that I have to do this with my lack of technology right now. Okay.
And welcome.
Okay, ready?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Hold on. I'm not ready. Stop it. Gosh, but this phone is like super sensitive. It's like
I don't like hearing my voice, man. Come on, you're torturing me.
Oh. Okay. Don't be so modest. All right. And go.
And welcome to another Unexplained Possibilities Too Crazy to Believe. Here, I'm going to tell you a story or stories that may or may not be too crazy to believe. And in fact, you might be right in thinking so. One or maybe even all the stories might be a work of fiction, or they could all be real. It's up to you to decide for yourself what is real and what is too crazy to believe. So with that said, let's jump into it. Summer of 1947 in Plains, Texas, Sharon Brown is sent a package with a note attached to it. Before opening the package, Sharon reads the note, which says, "Hi, Mom. Sorry I didn't phone ahead to tell you I was sending a package. Long distance is expensive after all. I sent this to you for safekeeping as it's a work-related item. I'm making arrangements now with the Science Museum, and if they choose to study it, I'll be by there in a few weeks to pick it up. Thanks in advance, Mom. Your son, Anthony." Sharon opens the package, and inside is a shiny metal object. Sharon takes the object out of the package and inspects it. Not knowing what it is, Sharon places it back and puts the package on a shelf and continues about her day. The next morning, Sharon wakes up feeling nauseous and suffering from a headache. To alleviate the discomfort she feels, Sharon heads into her bathroom and grabs some medicine. While taking the medicine, she hears a loud knock on her front door. Sharon goes to the front door and answers it. A man wearing dark glasses and a suit and has on a dark hat stands in front of Sharon. Sharon asks if she could help the man. The man responds that he would like to come in and search around. Sharon asks the man if he was with the police. The man says no and asks again if he may enter to search her home. Sharon says no, and in the midst of closing the door, the man stops it and politely and calmly tells Sharon she either lets him in willingly and save her own life, or not let him in and die, and then he will enter the premises and search around. Sharon slams the door shut and immediately calls the police. The phone, however, dies before Sharon is able to get through. Scared, Sharon peeks out the window and sees no one. She hurries out the door and goes to her neighbor's, Beatrice Ford's house. Sharon tells Beatrice what had transpired. Beatrice phones the police. Sharon tells the police about the man in the suit. The police say it's nothing they can do unless he commits a crime. Dismayed, Sharon heads home. The next day, Sharon wakes once again feeling nauseous and with a headache. Dealing with her discomfort, she hears a similar knock on the door. Sharon goes and answers, and it's the same man from yesterday. Sharon immediately slams the door in his face. Sharon goes to her phone and finds the line is dead once again. This same event plays out over the next several days, and each day, Sharon finds herself getting more and more sick to the point of not being able to make it out of bed. One particular day, the knocking on the door persisted. Sharon started screaming for them to go away and leave her alone. Although weak and barely able to stand, Sharon uses every ounce of energy in her body to answer the door. When she opens the door, no one is there. Several weeks pass by, and a small knock is heard on Sharon's front door. Sharon does not answer. A voice calls out to Sharon. "Hey, Mom. Mom, you there? I tried calling you, but no one answered." It's Sharon's son, Anthony. Anthony figures his mother went out, so he takes the hidden spare key, unlocks the door, and enters. Inside of the house, Anthony finds that his mother's house has been ransacked. Items are thrown all about, and lying in the center of the room is Sharon, who is dead. Next to Sharon's body is the package that Anthony sent to her, only its contents are missing. A few days later, Anthony is speaking with the doctor who did the autopsy report on Sharon's body. Strangely enough, foul play was ruled out, and Sharon's death is attributed to radiation poisoning. The doctor asks Anthony where the funeral for his mother will be held. Anthony states it will be held in Roswell, New Mexico. The doctor responds to Anthony saying that Roswell was just in the news not too long ago. A government weather balloon crashed there and caused quite a stir. Anthony smirks and mumbles, That's what they say, huh? And heads on out. So, what do you think? Is this one of the first run-ins with the suppressive men in black trying to collect evidence of a UFO crash, and in doing so cause the woman to perish? Or perhaps it's none of that, and it's just a too crazy to believe Roswell conspiracy created from the minds of us here at Unexplained Possibilities. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you all for checking out this Too Crazy to Believe, and keep on the lookout for next week as the answer to this story will be revealed.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone went silent. Okay.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Wow. Melvin, I love your stories.
I know, I do too.
I love your stories. I need more. God, you need to write a book. Choose Your Own Adventure Stories by Melvin. I'm sorry, did I just age myself? Elvin, are you old enough to know what a Choose Your Own Adventure book is?
I know what a Choose Your Own Adventure is.
Goodness.
I was actually working on one not too long ago.
You need to make one of those, and you need to make a graphic novel, and I need to purchase it.
I'll put it on the to-do list.
So with that,
okay. So can I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So there's a lot been said over the years about Roswell and what really happened there. Okay. And my personal opinion is something obviously did happen there. Okay. And like I said right from the beginning when I heard all about Roswell, and I do believe that we're not alone in the universe. Okay. But I think what happened in Roswell could very well be aliens crashing and whatever. Now, the phenomenon, as far as the men in black, there's been so many stories over the years. I don't know if that's fact or fiction. I really don't. So I'm going to think simply based on the men in black. I'm going to say it's fake. Okay, because the other thing that I was listening to was, what did the son actually do? What was he investigating? Why would he send something? Let's say he was one of the people researching the site where the so-called alien spaceship crashed. Why would he take something that would be from that site and then send it back home? I mean, was it a souvenir or something like that? But at the same time, I'm going to say it's fake, okay? Because we don't really know. Why would the son jeopardize his mother's health and jeopardize himself or his mother, for that matter? So I don't know. There's so many unanswered, question marks. Every time I sort of went down one alley to figure this out, I just say, no, I think it's fake.
To answer your question, he was holding it for the museum, and he called to see if they wanted the piece, and that's why he sent it to her to hold. So, you can take it wherever you want from there, without giving too much away.
Okay. I'm going to say fake. That's what I'm going with.
I want to hear from Jean-Jerome. He's our fact checker. He's my.
Serena, you're going with what he says. No.
No, he's like legit Snopes and stuff. He knows what's fake. So I'm just saying.
Well, that's a tough one. So people taking things from sites where either there's been meteor, anything suspicious, and in the area of New Mexico, even put aside anything alien, the amount of nuclear testing that occurred in decades ago, anything you would put from the desert could potentially have some radioactive aspect. And if there are asteroids or or fragments of celestial rocks that have fallen, they innately have sometimes radiation. It can't be ignored. So I would say from that aspect, the story is plausible. I mean, that he had something which an artifact which did have some radioactive. The only thing which seems completely implausible is the attitude of the son to almost seem almost nonchalant or not really
weighing the consequences of his actions.
And if it was somebody, if it was, let's say, the FBI or somebody that was concerned about what have you, a stolen item, an artifact they felt was either dangerous or part of national security, I don't think they would have politely knocked at the door and not come in and had the search warrant. So I would say, just for those elements, I would say probably the sort of the whole aspect of the story as a whole is probably it's a bit fabricated.
Well,
Zarina.
Oh, I don't know. I have Moldavite on, so I was just thinking. I hope this does not have like uranium or yes, and I'm just
properties?
like yes, because I have that, and then I have it amped up with 2 little Sataloka crystals. So I'm just saying, I hope I'm not getting radiation. But anyways, that was my thought. But I think there is such a thing as Men in Black. I don't know if it existed back then. I do think it's more of whatever that was in that package killed her. So I think maybe they were trying to cover up something. So I feel like I'm on both sides. So can I not have a conclusive answer, but be kind of like maybe I don't know?
No.
There's no Australia here in our world. Nope, no Switzerland either.
I'll say not plausible, not real.
Well, I want to be fun, and I want to think that it's true.
The Men in Black are going to be at your door with that little thinker
thing. I love the Men in Black movies. We are the Men in Black. I love those movies. I really do. I love those movies.
I do too.
I like the new one with the girl. That was so good. So, but seriously, I do think that the Men in Black are real, and I think that this is probably true. And she probably did die of exposure because of all the nuclear testing. I want to say the story's true.
But I have to say, on a segue to that, the only creepy alien movie that freaks me out is the one with Mel Gibson. And that has that little fingers going underneath.
Signs? Really?
Yes.
Signs is good.
I know. I do. I love it, but it creeps me out. It it just it gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I'm
supposed to. So
it is. Really? I love it. I love that movie.
I mean, aliens, I can understand, but signs.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a little something about myself.
Okay.
I'll go investigate the paranormal. I'll tap into the spirit, and I'm okay with that. I will protect myself. I will shield myself. I will have my crow's foot. I want nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Zero to do with aliens, and this is why. I don't know what their intentions are.
Probing. And you got to wear a tinfoil hat.
Don't want the probe. Don't want the probe. When I think of probe, that I know.
Jean-Jerome's like, I've had enough of Serena. Just duct tape her.
But seriously, I've had friends ask me if I wanted to go to areas where aliens are known to be around. And first they're talking about Mothman, and then they start talking about aliens. I'm like, Mothman, yes, I will totally go look for Mothman. Aliens, no, I won't do it.
I'm with you, Sean. I wouldn't.
I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know. I believe in them. They're real, but I don't know what their intentions are. What if we're their cattle? I don't know. There's too many what ifs and too many things.
Yep.
My imagination goes way too wild with them.
Well, I know this is a weird thing that used to happen when I was 8 years old. I used to always look out the window, and my mom would be like, "Who are you looking for? Who are you waiting on?" And I said to her on multiple occasions, "I'm waiting for them to come get me. I need to go home." So yeah. So,
I
I
believe
don't,
they exist. I do believe that there's other life forms.
yeah. So, it's just really because I'm 8 years old, I would not know to say something that credible to, most kids are playing with Barbies at that age. So it's just really, it's something that never really got answered with me, that it just makes me say,
I don't know. I think that it's like with as big as the outer spaces and universes and everything. I think that it would be very close-minded to think that we're the only living creatures in all of outer space. And if you think about the age of human beings compared to the age of the planet Earth, really human beings have not been around very long. So I don't know. Like I said, my imagination goes rampant with these thoughts. So to me, it's not far-fetched idea. It's not a far-fetched idea for there to be a far more advanced civilization than us. What do you think, Jean-Jerome? You seem like you're thinking with the.
Well, scientifically, given the billions of galaxies, billions, and every day they're finding potential either satellites or planets that could be habitable, that have conditions similar both in size, both in their orbit to a star, and everything else. I think it would be foolish to believe that we are again the only creatures or habitable planet in this vast universe. However, again, like Sasquatch, like aliens, and like a few other just areas which I don't have a great deal of expertise. I've always been a Star Trek fan. I've always been, love Star Trek, love any science fiction, but I've never witnessed anything that I could even remotely construe as being an alien or an extraterrestrial type event or situation. Never seen anything related even closely to a Sasquatch. So there are things that I always say, what you don't know, always you cannot disprove or you shouldn't comment. So I can only say I don't know. I don't know, and but I've personally never had any experience with it.
Okay.
I have had an experience with a UFO, but that's another story.
So Melvin needs to get to his now lukewarm pizza.
Yes.
So let's do the answer
the reveal.
Yes, and then we will let Melvin get to his lukewarm pizza, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
All right. So it was 3 people who said fake, 1 who said true.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I am on the fence.
You are on the fence. You know the answer. How can you be on the fence? You're on the other side.
You can't say that, Melvin. You just told Zarina that she couldn't say that.
Well, I mean,
He knows the answer. How can he just doesn't want to give it away. He's not a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. All right. So here's this.
Give it away now.
Yeah, see? All right. And here we go.
Hello, and welcome back to Unexplained Possibilities, Too Crazy to Believe. Last week, we told you the tale of a woman who received an odd package from her son. A day after receiving the package, she gets a knock on the door that leaves her disturbed. So, are you guys ready to find out if this story is real or something created from our minds here at Unexplained Possibilities? Well, let's find out together. This story is too crazy to believe. While there are stories of interesting events taking place after the Roswell incident, this isn't one of them.
Yay!
So, did we fool you? Or were you able to see past our trickery? Either way, let us know in the comment section down below. And stay tuned as more paranormal tales are on the way. And like always, it's up to you to determine if the story is real or too crazy to believe.
It's just crazy.
So I love the trickery. Okay, well, you got me on that one, Melvin.
Yeah, that was 100% made up. And what happened? Where did that one come from? I think I just wanted something to do with aliens, because the other ones, it was just, ghosts and things that are bumping around at night. So instead, I wanted something that zoomed down at night.
I like it. I did like it.
You are
Sean, I do agree with you. I think, and I agree with what Jean-Jerome said. I think to think that we're the only living being or entity throughout the galaxies is egotistical, to say the least. I don't think we're alone. I really don't. There's a possibility that Roswell did happen. Okay. Will we ever know in our lifetime? I don't think so. I think from that incident alone, I think there was a lot of technology that was developed, which, quite frankly, we weren't really prepared to go that route, as far as we humans discovering or deciding to create something. It had to come from somewhere. It had to be inspired somewhere. I'm not saying that we're not capable as human beings to make inspirational and wonderful inventions, etc., but it was just too, in the timeline of us as human beings, there's not enough procession of incidents to suddenly, wow, now we're flying with stealth fighters, okay, or something else, So I think that something happened there. I really do. Will we ever know? I don't know.
Maybe one day. Linda Dix, the nurse, is now chiming in with her 2 cents. Thanks for chiming in now. It says, usually radiation takes more than a few days to kill and hair fall out. Chemical burns on body. So, thanks for chiming in after I gave my answer. No, I'm kidding. So, really, I mean, what it comes down to is that when you hear these types of stories, it gets you to kind of think, and it gets you to question reality. And you look at the facts, and you do. And it's really fun, and it is so much fun to think that a lot of the stuff is true. Like I said, I chose because I thought it'd be fun to think it would be, because I love that type of stuff. I watched the X-Files. Even though I never watched Star Trek, I never got into Star Trek. Of all the shows that are out there, I never got into Star Trek. But I love Star Wars, so I've always loved Star Wars too. Yeah, so, but I don't know. It's so great to exercise your mind that way and to question reality. Think for yourself. Exactly. Question reality.
Jean-Jerome, you're grinning. Why? I know you're thinking something.
No, because he says he likes Star Wars, so I'm just thinking of Yoda.
Yeah. On Facebook, did you see what my what is that picture called? Your border picture or the background picture?
Yeah.
Mine. My cover photo is what they call it. It is Yoda. It says, you know what, Jean-Jerome, you should read this. Fear is the path to the dark side.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. hate leads to suffering.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're so amazing.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love it a lot.
Yes. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Jean-Jerome is a never-ending source of entertainment for me, I have to say.
But
especially when we have our talks and we go into the abyss.
This is where I must make my exit now.
We love you, Melvin.
Enjoy. I honestly hope you're really eating while we're on because we can't see you. I hope you were able to enjoy.
No, I'll take a picture of the pizza if you want.
I want
Man
to
of
think
mystery,
that you had
Melvin.
some nice hot pizza. Thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this. This has been a really fun, special show.
It was fun.
So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Eat you must. Food you must have. Fun we have.
Sustenance you must eat.
Or, because I'm the bull, somebody's going to get the horn. So, yeah.
Melvin,
Teresa, Jean-Jerome, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Melvin. A pleasure, Melvin.
Oh, it was a pleasure to speak with you too, Melvin.
We'll be watching your show and your previous podcasts and all that. And
for sure.
Thank you.
You have a very good storytelling style.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
When I hear you talk, I'll let you go with this. You remind me of the voice and the candor of the cadence of Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, that is the first time I've heard that one. I will take that compliment.
Yes. You're right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yes, there is that aspect to Melvin.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Bon appetit,
Jean-Jerome. Very astute perception.
Melvin, I sent you a picture. I was doing some Google searching one day, and I saw this, and it made me think of you. You'll see why when you see the picture. So,
okay, I'll check it out and see.
Thank you again for coming on.
Thanks,
Thank you. You all have a good night.
Melvin.
Blessings.
Bye,
Good night.
Melvin.
Good night,
Somebody keeps saying something. Somebody keeps touching my shoulder. If y'all notice, like for the last 30 minutes, I keep something's and it's not my weave either. It's somebody keeps touching my shoulder. And I'm like, who is it? What do you want? I'm like, I'm just saying. Teresa.
It's not me. I didn't send anyone either.
I tell you, I'm just like, okay, it's okay. Just I feel like he's patting me. Yeah. So
someone wants your attention. Who is it?
I don't know. Everybody wants Zarina's attention, so they just got to get a number. It's like
that's
the DMV.
Right. You kill me, Zarina.
What were we talking about the other day, Teresa? And I was telling you the word, some word that you liked or whatever.
Yeah. What was the word? And I kept saying it over again. Oh, geez, what was it?
Yeah, I can't remember now.
Oh man, it was a good one. I liked it.
Spiritual Ajax, I think it was. It was spiritual.
Yes, that's it.
Spiritual Ajax. Yeah. So.
But yes, I'm going to use that one.
That's when Baba makes that Omera, when he.
Yeah.
That's like spiritual Ajax,
Ajax. That's right, because we were talking about that. And I said something or other, and you went spiritual Ajax. And I went, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's how Jean-Jerome actually gets green, and Yoda is all the ripping of the herbs, and he's all green. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Is that what happens, Jean-Jerome?
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
But it's very interesting, actually. I mean, complete aside, we talk about fiction, and we talk about different story, different things. I mean, part of our this whole show has ended up being there's the
pizza.
That's Melvin's pizza.
No,
I didn't mean to be rude. I didn't mean to stop talking. I just wanted to show the pizza.
Okay.
He sent it to me, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, don't worry.
I really want to hear it.
I'm saying though it's interesting how the show morphed into a theme, which was looking at urban legends and items that are typically believed in, or stories, whether it be the Mothman thing or the alien stories, the show from Melvin in terms of stories that are strange, or true or not.
Stranger than fact.
But it's very, very, very interesting that as well. Like we've also mentioned in the Star Wars, like things like Star Wars, for instance, many of the themes of Star Wars in terms of the whole Jedi lore. Many of the things are based on elements of spirituality and concepts that are real.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So brought into of course a fantastic scenery and into a galaxy far, far away and a long, long time ago. But it's a very interesting that much of popular culture, movies, and cinema that seems fantastical on the screen is actually based on a lot of spiritual truths and practices in that are age old in our societies, right? So
it's in our human psyche to be spiritual. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
And I do think, like I said, we did title it spiritual medicine, and I do think everything ties in with that. No matter what we believe or what aspect that we come from, we can always take some type of perspective away from it in order to engage it into our own personal knowledge base and belief system that allows us to evolve and to grow. And it's just looking at things, there are so many messages and different movies or different things that I was like, when I watched them, it was so profound. And it really had that aha moment for me that allowed me to really, let go or engage in something that allowed me to really, 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 move forward in a lot of my thinking. So just a quick question. What is the most profound movie that you think, or part of a movie that maybe did that for you, each of you?
Teresa, I'll let you go first.
Okay. I would say there were two of them. I've always been a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Okay. And I read it many years ago when I was in high school. And there's always been people trying to make it into a movie. It's been cartoon form, and it never really, really captured it until I saw Lord of the Rings. And honestly, the version that I forget the production. Who's the producer again? God, he's famous.
I know
anyway,
you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. And when I saw it on the screen, honest to God, I sat there and I realized my friend who was sitting beside me looked at me and sort of peered at me and then didn't say anything until we got out of the theater. It made me cry. I had tears in my eyes. It was so beautiful. And it took everything the way I always imagined that whole series of Peter Jackson. Thank you. Melvin to the rescue. Yes. And the way he brought it to life. He brought my imagination to life and then some. That it had such a profound effect on me. It truly did. I was in awe. I really was. And then later when my friend and I were speaking, she said, you actually sat there, and she says, I thought you were crying. She goes, your mouth was open, but she says, oh my God, you look like a kid, right? And I went, well, I was that kid back in high school again going, oh my God, they captured it. They truly did capture it. So that movie. And then when I went to see Avatar, okay, because I love science fiction, I love fantasy, and the way that whole world, and it was 3D, right? I sat there in the movie with my friend, and we're like, oh, we're reaching out for it. It was, I loved it. So I would say those two movies were the most profound for me, simply because they enticed my imagination. They brought forth that feeling of incredulous beauty that only our own minds can spin, but now they're able to actually create. So I found those two movies had a profound effect for me. It stimulated all my visionary and my emotions and got me all going. Okay.
I love Lord of the Rings too. I saw every single one in the movie theater. I'm a big fan.
So who's next? Zarina?
Why me? Always me. No, I'm just kidding. So I would definitely say Apocalyptica, because I just naturally was drawn to that shamanic Mayan Incan kind of feel, because I know that's one of my past lives. And when he said fear is a sickness, it will crawl into the soul of anyone who engages it. It has already tainted. It has tainted your peace already. And I did not raise you to see you live with fear. Strike it from your heart and do not bring it into the village. So that was powerful for me, because I struggle with fear a lot, and how it does contaminate us, and it contaminates everyone around us. So that was just like my definite food for thought.
Nice.
And Sean Gilmore.
I'm next. Oh, yes. So we're saving Jean-Jerome for last. Okay.
Yeah, saving the best for last. Sorry.
So we actually spoke about one of my movies last week.
Yeah.
And Zarina, I don't know if you got to watch it yet.
Probably not.
It's What Dreams May Come.
Oh, it's on my list. It's on my queue list. I am.
You got to watch it.
Why do I know that? Oh, go ahead.
Robin Williams. I'm just gonna. I'll tell the kind of the premise of the story, but I don't want to give the full details because it's a very powerful story. It's about a man and a woman who are soulmates, and their children are killed tragically in a car accident, and it shows the struggles that they go through as a couple and individually, kind of briefly, and then the Robin Williams, the husband, he dies tragically in a car accident. And then it shows the wife and her struggles with his death. And she ends up committing suicide. So it shows his path into heaven. And his wife is an artist. She's a painter. And it just depicts heaven in such a beautiful way. And it depicts hell. And it's just the way that the whole, it's an adventure, and the whole story is just amazing to me. But the part that really stuck to me was when the father met the daughter for the first time and didn't realize that she's been guiding him the whole time, because she showed herself to him in a way that he thought would be more beautiful, more easier for him to understand and wrap his head around. It's just a whole, but really, I don't want to give too much away, because Zarina, I really want you to watch it. It's just it's such a great movie. It's just one of the most underrated movies ever. So yeah, it's a very
now
very
I'm
powerful,
gonna want to watch it.
It's a very powerful story, definitely will probably want some Kleenex nearby when you watch it. Another movie for me, which may I don't know. I had to think of one kind of on the fly. There's so many good ones out there, but one that was like more like eye-opening for me. I'm gonna go with Life of Pi.
Oh,
nice.
Love that movie.
I love that one. I did love that one. Yeah.
The struggle of surviving on a boat.
Yeah.
And how it depicts that struggle. And I also saw that movie in 3D at the movie theater, and that just made it even that much better. But it really depicts the challenges of survival. And it's another really powerful story. And then you kind of see like the truth on how the story really unfolded. It's like they tell the story one way, and then at the end you're just like, so it's just you find out it's another. It's I don't know. It's a really neat story.
It is. I love
Can
it.
I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So, Sean, do you think that the tiger actually existed?
No.
Or did it not?
No. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't either. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the struggle. That was the monster within to survive.
Yeah.
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 It was a powerful movie. I loved it.
It was. No, I loved it. You're right. It is a good one. All right, Jean-Jerome.
Well, I love The Lord of the Rings as well. But one movie that impacted me, I think, is very well done. It didn't get a lot of attention. It was a movie directed by Clint Eastwood that starred Matt Damon, which is called The Hereafter.
I've never seen that one.
I don't think I've heard
I suggest you watch that movie. It will definitely bring tears to your eyes, but it is probably one of the most honest and serious looks at the questions of destiny and what true mediumship is.
Really? The Hereafter.
Anybody who is a medium has to see that movie.
Okay.
It is an absolutely phenomenal movie, directed by Clint Eastwood. Is an excellent actor, one which I love to
He's
imitate.
a very good director.
And an excellent, even better director, right? And I mean, under his thing, a movie but completely different genre is like Gran Torino. Gran Torino is a very poignant movie on racism and everything else, but it's also a very, very excellent movie as well. Gran Torino.
I do. I've seen that one, and I love that because I love that car. Yeah, it was. It was fantastic.
Yeah, my dad loves that movie very much. The Gran Torino is a very, very good movie. My dad loves Clint Eastwood as well, from both movies as an actor, but also as a director. He's a fantastic director.
Yeah.
I love Clint Eastwood. My dad looked like Clint Eastwood when he was younger. I always said that, right? So
So I would definitely say Hereafter is probably one of the most serious looks at, and another one which always other two movies that always very much influenced me, as well as the novel. One in case the novel, it was the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, that's my favorite. I love
it.
Yes. Oh my God, I saw that as a child with my dad. Yes.
The more recent adaptation was phenomenal. They did a very good job.
Oh, the recent one. Okay.
I forget his name now. He also did The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, it's Jim Carsavell.
Carsavell, exactly.
Yes. Jim Cat. Yeah.
I read it when I was younger, the book, and I would literally just highlight certain things or earmark certain pages, and it was like one of my most favorite books ever. But then when he made the movie and I watched it, and it was just it like Teresa says, it came alive, and it was just it is absolutely on my top 10 as well. I love that one.
My dad liked that movie. I remember seeing it as a child. It was an old version of it. It was on a Sunday afternoon where we sat around and watched this, and I watched it with my dad. My mom was cooking, but good story for sure.
And the other two would be Geronimo, which was starred by Wes Studi, which is an excellent actor. Excellent First Nations actor, Wes Studi. I encourage, he goes a lot into a very honest look at the beliefs of the Apache, the beliefs of the Chiricahua specifically, and especially I was named after. My name is Jerome. My mom named me after Jeronimo, so that's why she gave me the name. She gave me the name Jerome after Jeronimo. Goyakla was his name in Apache and Chiricahua.
Wow.
And the other. That was an excellent. And the last one, of course, would be I really enjoyed always the spiritual aspects. I always look for movies that have a spiritual undertone, that teach something. And also the very with Russell Crowe, Gladiator.
Oh, I love that movie.
Okay.
Love that movie.
Yes. That was really, really good.
And not so much for anything else, not for what people might think, not because of the the fight scenes and the gladiatorial fights or the story, but the few things. One, because it brings to light of this generation, younger generation, haven't really read much or had much attention put to it. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor of Rome which was considered the philosopher emperor. And he wrote many treatises on the condition of mankind and war and society. And there are many quotes that people use today or that come from Marcus Aurelius, right? Very fascinating. And it gave a clean insight as well into ancient Roman spirituality, the veneration of the ancestors, and that constant aspect of ancestor worship and destiny or fate, right? Having how fate and destiny could. So those are my more than two, but those are some I'd say movies that always like to go back to.
Yeah. What we do in life echoes in eternity.
That's right.
Toy Story. Right?
That was Gladiator.
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to show you what I've been watching
Stories
too.
to infinity and beyond.
And so, can I add on to that? So are the days of our lives. Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure. Sorry.
There you go. Exactly. I watched all the Toy Story movies because every time I went to my sister's, the kids were growing up, right? So if I was always submitted to watching family movies, which was Toy Story, right? But I ended up loving the Toy Story series because it had these wonderful little vignettes, and they were little life lessons, for children, and I think that was really good because it put them on the right track, and I loved it. I thought they were cute little movies for kids,
Yeah. I don't know. I love animated films though. I love Disney.
I do too.
Actually, I was just talking to Zarina about how I really liked Lilo and Stitch. I also
I've never seen that one. I wanted to see it.
You gotta watch that one.
I'm Lilo. You gotta watch it. It's Hawaiian.
I know. I should, of course.
Because Stitch actually, the sister actually, I can't ruin it, but you just gotta watch it, and I'm gonna see if you catch it, and then we good. Okay.
But I just wanted to because I don't know why I have a feeling. Marcus Aurelius. These are just some of his thoughts, and if you think about it, one of his sayings attributed to Marcus Aurelius in his memoir was the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts.
Wow.
The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back.
Wow. These are profound thoughts. Jeez.
For one of the most powerful men in history, because under Marcus Aurelius, he conquered the Gaul, conquered Germania. So, and the universe has changed. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Those are very profound sayings of somebody. You probably have heard some of those quotes in movies or other references, and they're basically originally penned by Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome.
Wow.
161 to 180 AD, and it was a Stoic philosopher.
Wow.
Guys,
yes.
I think we got to wrap up.
You read my mind.
Look, my camera just crashed. I think somebody pushed over my camera. I'm just saying, it just went, and so it's all at a crazy angle. I didn't do it.
It wasn't me.
And I'll say this last one as a parting one, because for a parting one, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jean-Jerome and Teresa, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for the invitation.
Short notice.
Thank
you. It was a lot of fun. The Tonight Show ended up being a lot of fun. Thank you. I want to have you guys back on, though. I want to have a more spiritual conversation with you guys. I want to dig in deep with you guys for for a lot of reasons. But number one, I want people to learn. I think that what you guys have so much to offer. And I also am going down a path, as everybody knows. So it's, I don't know. I would just love to have you guys on and kind of digging deep with you guys. So I do look forward to scheduling that, hopefully in the near future.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
you
And
know,
likewise
to our
with
family.
you. Yes.
To our family, and to the both of you, and for all your audience, we thank you both for the inspiration, the support,
Yes,
and the push to start our own the Ancestral Eyes podcast.
Yes,
and it's thanks to you. And again, always know that we're family, and that whenever you need us, day or night, podcast or no podcast, we're there for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
With that, real quick, we didn't have you guys plug. I usually do this at the beginning of the show because we end up going on for so long. Can you guys just let people know how can people find your podcast real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
We're called Ancestral Eyes. You can find us on our Facebook page, and as well as the Crone's Corner on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
And there we go.
And this Friday, our guest is my cozy Nomad Lozi, Rebecca Rogerson, who is a Sangoma, practicing Sangoma, been practicing for over 23 years.
Wow.
She was initiated in South Africa. She has a very interesting story. She's been working in the community, offering consultations and healing in Toronto for 23 years.
Wow.
And she has a very interesting.
And she's lovely.
She's
really
a lovely.
I said to Jean-Jerome when I was reading about her, I saw some of her videos and everything. I said, "Oh, I just love her. I really do. She's awesome. She really is."
Awesome.
So
I'll make sure to tune into that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Thank you very much.
All right. So
Zarina.
Thank you very much, guys.
Oh, my pleasure.
And how are we gonna wrap it up? Zarina?
You got it in you?
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm always ready. Bang, bang.
All
All right.
Bang, bang. Get that Red Bull.
Yeah. Okay. Father God, ancestors, Orishas, all our guardian spirits, I ask that you would just bless each and every one that is here, that participated. Also, the ones that are in our viewing audience, and that they would come to the knowledge and understanding of a message or anything while being a part of this amazing podcast with all these amazing people. But we just ask that you would just watch over them and just give them just inspiration and clarity, and bring to them what they in their life, and release them from the things that no longer serve them through all time and space. And I just ask a blessing over everyone.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you again, you two. Many blessings, sweet dreams.
Yes.
Blessings to all those that are listening to the podcast. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
Everybody. Zarina's out.
Bye.
Good night.